but a lot of that has fallen within a 12-hour period. The rainfall rates have just been outstanding, over 5 inches of rain per hour when we were at the peak of the rainfall intensity. So to see a little break in that action, that's going to be good news. I can actually estimate how wide that is for you guys, because that'll give us an idea of how much time we have to work with. And it's so sad that we're getting down to the point that we need a 10-mile break in the rain. That's how intense this situation has gotten. So again, we have an 11-mile break. The storm itself is pushing everything up at about 20 miles per hour. So this could be maybe a 20 to 30-minute break moving over the Gulf Freeway as we speak. So, you know, that's good news that we could have 20 to 30 minutes lining up with the light of day, because now the sun is coming up, that over the Gulf Freeway we could have at least 20 to 30 minutes of maybe a light drizzle. So a little bit of good news coming in there. It's not moving into southeast Harris County. I think this is going to fill in between the north part of that line moving into southeast Harris County, but I do think the Gulf Freeway for the majority of Galveston County is going to be able to tap into that slight clearing, so we'll take that while we can get it. In terms of the forecast for the rest of the day, folks, this isn't, and as Rachel said, you're going to hear us say unprecedented so many times, but it's hard to think of another word that really describes it better than that, and it makes forecasting this storm so difficult, because we're taking a hurricane that was a Category 4, 130 miles per hour upon landfall, and within 24 hours, it slammed on its brakes and completely stopped moving. Between midnight and 2 a.m. this morning, Harvey did not move at all. That is outstanding for that to happen, and that makes it very hard for our computer models to pick up on what to do with this system. So now we're in nowcasting mode. We can see what's happening on radar, and we're able to forecast over the next 3 hours or so off of what we're seeing, and that's the situation that we find ourselves in. So we're forecasting that small little break for the Gulf Freeway. That's going to last for about 30 minutes. As we look out to the west, we do see a break in this band that's right over Matagorda County, but that band has not moved. That is a little bit of a warning for Matagorda County. You've stacked up anywhere between 15 and 16 inches of rain along that band, and it's training. So watch out for that potential of flooding. We're also seeing some heavier rainfall rates go back into Fort Bend County. Fort Bend County has picked up anywhere between 5 to 6 inches of rain in the last 24 hours, and now that heavy band is right on top of you. We still have a tornado watch that's issued for the area. No active warnings, but when we start to see a very defined rain band set up, these will be the locations where we start to see some tornado warnings popping up. So make sure that you have a way to get those tornado warnings, because I wouldn't be surprised now that we're seeing a more defined rain band set up that we could see that starting to pop up. And as we go into the afternoon, we're expecting that structure to really set up as well with those classic rain bands. So most likely that tornado watch is just going to have to be extended. But definitely an unbelievable situation that we find ourselves in. I'm going to go ahead and put up the rainfall totals that we have seen across the area. And you'll clearly see the two hardest hit areas, but you'll also notice how widespread the issue is. 12 to 25 inches of rain. Along 45 to the north and also down the Gulf Freeway, it's just so unbelievable the amount of rain that we have. I-10 between the Beltway and the Loop is another hard hit area, over 20 inches of rain in 24 hours, but again, most of that is really within the last 12 hours since midnight, and that's where we have water that is getting into the second level of people's homes. So we have people that are now having to go to their roofs to get rescued, which is unbelievable. There's another second location where we're seeing this happen, and that's along the Gulf Freeway close to Dickinson, and that is pushing up towards the League City area. Out to the west, of course, the lower rainfall totals with exception of that band that's right over Matagorda County, and that's now extending into Fort Bend County. So we've seen 10 to 20 inches of rain in a lot of locations down to the south and west, but now as we move into Fort Bend County, we're going to start stacking it on. We're at 5 to 6 inches right now, but as we go throughout the next several hours, those rainfall totals are going to get closer to 8 inches of rain. So something to watch out for Fort Bend County. North Harris County by the Spring area, a lot of you have been asking about that. Rainfall totals are up to 8 to 9 inches, but isolated spots, we have a viewer report of over 13 inches of rain. We already have flooding in all of our channels out of Banks, north of town, and we're going to continue to see the flooding situation really go down here. So areas to watch for the conditions to really get worse worse in terms of flash flooding. North portions of Harris County around Spring, watch that very closely. And then also as you move into southwestern portions of Harris County, moving into Fort Bend County, really watch that area. Those rainfall totals are getting a little high. And also the northwest corner of Harris County, our rainfall totals are now exceeding 12 to 15 inches of rain. So that's another spot that I want you to watch. Some of the locations that are faring a little better, Fort Bend County, also Galveston Island looking okay, and then coastal areas of Brazoria County also looking okay at this point. Look at our channel status. This was last updated an hour ago, so I'll have to go in and give this another update, but I don't think it's probably changed. If anything, it's only gotten worse, unfortunately. So we have a few channels that are within bank. That's where you see the green boxes. You can find this information at click2houston.com. I just put it out on my Twitter page and also on my Facebook page. That's KPRC2 Britta Merwin. If you go there right now, you're going to see the link to get this information. It's very easy to understand. Where you see the red dots, that is a channel outside of its banks. You can actually click on that red dot. It will tell you what the channel is, what the level is, and you actually can see that rise and hopefully eventually see it drop down as well. You can tell that the north part of Harris County, stretching from Louetta into Humble, is really starting to stack up those rainfall totals, and everything is out of banks. Brays Bayou has actually surpassed the tax day level, so we are seeing historic flooding across Brays, so that's something to watch out for. And everything is trying to filter down to the Gulf of Mexico, so that's how the system is set up. You can also click on the watersheds when you go to this website, and that will show you how the system drains out, because when eventually we get the spigot turned off, everything has to drain out, and that is going to be a stepped process. Flash flooding is going to continue to be a huge risk for the next several hours. I don't really see a huge change in this pattern between now and lunch. What is going to change the pattern is we go into the afternoon. We're expecting the structure to turn into more of a classic rain band, which would allow for more breaks in between those bands. And our system drains out really fast. We just have to stop the rain to get the system to drain out. So we'll try and take advantage of those breaks as we go into the afternoon. Now, long term, we're still going to have that threat of flash flooding, but we do have some pretty important updates coming in from the National Hurricane Center that is changing our forecast for Monday and Tuesday. The current path, this is the 7 a.m. advisory, so this is new information over the last 13 minutes. And the path has, consistently stayed with the 4 a.m., which is great news. And again, we're going to get another update on the path, and we could see some changes as we come up upon the 11 a.m. advisory. But for the next 24 hours, Harvey is expected to slowly drift down to the south and east. The farther east we get this area of low pressure, the farther east we get the flooding rain. We do not wish flooding rain on Louisiana or East Texas, but we've stacked up so much here that we need to move that bullseye, and we're expecting that to happen as we go into Tuesday. So for today and also tomorrow, we are going to have bands of heavy rain. And keep in mind, Kimberly, I'll go ahead and bring you in on this. As we go into tomorrow and we have those heavy rain bands, if they set up over the Gulf Freeway, also the east side of Harris County, we're going to be in trouble, because we already have so much rain that if we get into a better situation by Tuesday and Wednesday, 1 to 2 inches of rain is just going to ignite everything.
Part of what makes that so difficult is the elevation that we have in our area, which is not very much between the Gulf and the highest elevation in the city of Houston. So that rain takes a long time to get to its destination, and that's why it sticks around.
Have an incline to help.
Absolutely. We'd have a different kind of problem. But the problem we have now is going to take so much time, and we're hearing from so many people. I got a phone call just a moment ago from a woman who said her husband is at the corner of I-10 and Federal. As a chevron there where it's been flash flooded overnight last night, couldn't get out. And I think Owen was telling me earlier that part of the Interstate 10 was closed, the Jensen and Federal, that area. We've been seeing the Hunting Bayou numbers, which show that it was 8 feet above where it was, and rooftop flooding. This guy has a heart condition and said he's been trying to call, and they're having the same problem that a lot of people are having, calling 911. They can't get through. So they said, call me. And I said, well, I'd have to call 911, but he's on heart medication. medication and can't. So those kind of situations are being multiplied throughout our area. There are a lot of you who are going to be in trouble, and we understand that. So what we're trying to do is let you know, for example, how much longer this is going to be going on, number one. Number two, if you have to go someplace for safety, how to best do that. And we've told you from the National Weather Service and Jeff Linder that to not go into the attic no matter what happens, because that's going to make it more difficult. We just want to be a conduit to get you the information you need. I'm looking forward to the news conference coming up with the mayor. We're going to have all of those agencies coming together with a grand plan. Listening to Ed Emmett the other day talking about why he wasn't advising people to evacuate. So, well, you know, you run from the water, you hide from the wind. With the water, the surge was not going to be an issue for us. So he said, we're not going to evacuate because that's the that's the general thought process. But this is something that no one could prepare for. And so you just can't overcome that.
And these situations are particularly hard because we knew that flash flooding was going to be a threat. We've been telling you since last Thursday that we were getting into a situation that Sunday into Monday and Tuesday, flash flooding was going to be a major concern with Harvey. But the problem is you can't pinpoint where it's going to set up. Take us back to last Friday. There's no way any meteorologist could tell you that the Gulf Freeway was going to stack up 20 inches of rain and people would be on their roof. So when you cannot identify 3 days out where that spot is, it's very hard to evacuate ahead of time in these situations. And so you get into the situation where you do have high water rescues that have to take place.
When we have a front that's coming through, it gives us a lot more ability to understand it, because you know the front is coming in, the atmosphere, there's going to be lift going on right around that front, the storm is going to come through. We can be a lot more definitive about trying to figure out where things are going to happen. But in this scenario, it can't happen. Many of the times when we're doing our Facebook Lives and people would write in and say, what about Cyprus? What about here? What about there? And I just told them generally, everyone is going to get rain. And that's exactly what's happening now. Of course, no one could predict this and no one would want this.
Yes. And one thing I do want to point out, that 10-mile break is now over the Gulf Freeway. So we've entered that window of time. We probably only have about, 15, maybe 20 minutes of a dry patch here. But this is just some light drizzle right now from the Beltway down to almost the Causeway. I mean, there's a little bit of a downpour that's coming up north from the Causeway. But this is a long stretch right here that got hit very, very hard. And they are now finally getting a break. It is not going to make a considerable difference, folks. But for a good 20-mile stretch of folks that had over 18 inches of rain, at least right now it's a light drizzle. And that might be helping out with some of those high water rescues. But I mean, it's just a dire situation when you're talking about, forecasting a 10-mile break in the heavy rain. We're also tracking a break in between the band that is setting up between Lake Jackson and Alvin. It's just really off to the east of 288, and then the band that's moving over Matagorda County. Now, the band that's over Matagorda County, if you take us back about 4 hours, it was actually on top of Bay City. Notice that we're seeing slight movement to the east. It's very, very slight. I'm talking maybe 8 miles. But at this point, 8 miles can make a difference. So these are those minute changes that we will be watching as meteorologists when we're making our forecast. And this is what we do when we nowcast. We look for those 8-mile wiggles because they will make a difference, especially as we go in the afternoon and we start to see more classic bands. We'll see more folks that get a break.
And this band here, this is the one that we had the tornado warnings in earlier, is it not?
So folks need to watch out for the fact that we could have tornado warnings popping up again in the near future because now we're getting that classic band.
And this is also, it seems to me, it's slid a little bit more to, no it hasn't. It's really pretty much the same way. Here's the Fort Bend, so it's right in the same area. It's just less intense. So we dropped the tornado warnings, but we still have that long line of training going on. So those numbers that we were looking at earlier near the Colorado River, because we were talking about the numbers in the Sugar Land, New Territory area were like 5 inches as compared to 20. Those numbers are likely to change with that heavy rainfall that's coming through there, while we're getting this light area here on the Gulf Freeway, which is still holding up there pretty well. Now Galveston is getting pretty well. Do we have the Galveston cam on that?
I do. If you go ahead and go load it up. So Cambrell's going to load up an image of Galveston on one of our computers that I can route into this monitor so I can show it to you. I do want to take you, on a little tour here because there's a lot of areas to really focus on. Okay, so Cambrell's pulling it up right now. Do you have it up on the internet computer?
Yeah.
Okay, so Kimbrell's going to go over there and he's going to get that up for you. Obviously, this is an older image. Kimbrell, go ahead and let me know. I'm going to go back to radar and you let me know when you have it up. So I want to take you on a little tour here because obviously there's many areas. Let's take you down to the coast. What's been happening on the coast? We have only picked up about 4 inches of rain on the island. A little bit higher totals, especially as you get closer to, Surfside Beach. The rainfall totals are significantly higher. You have heavy rain that's moving in, so those rainfall totals are going to be coming up. Also, you're feeling the wind impacts of Harvey. They're not dramatic, but it's out there. We have a sustained wind 20 to 30 miles per hour, wind gusts over 40 miles per hour. So this is wind-driven rain that we're experiencing on the island. It does continue into the causeway. As we move up the Gulf Freeway into hard-hit areas of Dickinson and League City and Friendswood, we are still getting a nice break, but heavy rain has already entered Santa Fe. It is pushing over the Gulf Freeway, so you really only have maybe another 5-10 minutes of getting this break in the rainfall intensity, but it does stretch up into southeast Harris County. East side of Harris County, this is your update, folks. It's been really, really rough, but we are seeing at least a small break south of I-10. It stretches from Stafford over Hobby Airport. Again, Hobby Airport, we had reports of an apartment complex with water getting into the second level of that apartment complex and people needing to be rescued possibly off of the roof of the structure. We are seeing those rainfall rates considerably lower. I'm actually going to go ahead and pause the radar so you can really identify what I'm talking about. Right along the Beltway, you can tell that we have light greens and yellows, so that's a steady light rain, and even a drop in intensity will make a difference in what we are able to accomplish rescue-wise, but also make a difference in the compound structure of dealing with flooding. If we can drop those rainfall rates, it's going to help us out in terms of how much flash flooding we are encountering. As we take you into North Harris County, I'll go ahead and put this back on the loop so you can see the movement of these storms. Jersey Village into Kingwood and Crosby, the rain's very, very heavy. We have stacked up over 15 inches of rain in some of these locations. East Tex Freeway going up towards Kingwood. This is some really nasty stuff, and it's these darker bands that pop up into the reds that can produce those quick spin-up tornadoes. So keep in mind, listen out for those warnings. Porter Heights is very heavy into the woodlands. As we move into Montgomery County, Walker County, moving into Polk and San Jacinto County and North Liberty County, it's just continuing to come down. The flooding situation is not as dramatic in our north counties, but those rainfall totals are stacking up. If you're waking up and you're thinking about heading out for church in our north counties, I just suggest that you stay home for today. We do not have as dire of a flooding situation in your area, but the heavy rain moving in, more heavy rain anticipated, a flash flood watch, and also, the tornado watch box just to your south. I would suggest to everybody, just stay home for today. Again, you have to really pay attention to the locations that we are highlighting when we're giving this information, because it's very specific to location. If you are, waking up on the west side, we're going to give you a totally different recommendation to if you're waking up along the Gulf Freeway. Let's move into our northwest counties, closer to Bryan College Station, into Brenham. I'm talking about Waller County, Grimes County. A lot of heavy rain. You have picked up a ton of rain overnight, with rainfall totals getting closer to 18 inches of rain in some of these locations. You're doing okay flooding wise, but of course you all know those typical spots that have problems. We do have flooded roads, so it's a good idea to stay home, but we're not getting reports of any rescues happening in your area. As we go into Sealy and Katy, rainfall totals in this location have been closer to 5 to 7 inches of rain. We have had issues with tornadoes overnight, but we're not tracking tornado warnings at this point. Sealy, Wallace, you're about to get a really nice break in the rain. So if you live from Sealy into Columbus, stretching up to Garwood, you folks are going to get a nice break in the rain. But as you move into Fort Bend County, it just continues to come down. The Grand Parkway, stretching from Katy into Cinco Ranch into Aliana, Harvest, and then pushing into New Territory, Sienna Plantation. All of you, the rain continues to come down hard. We haven't had reports of any home flooding, but the street flooding has been a huge issue. So please stay inside of your home. Your conditions are going to continue to deteriorate, and the threat of life-threatening flash flooding is just going to increase. As I take you down into Brazoria County and follow that feeder band that goes over Sweeney into Bay City, in this location, definitely a ton of rain, at least under the band. If you live from Palacios to Blessings into Bay City, you could actually be out and about today. And again, you have to listen to the locations that we're discussing because we're going to give different information. If you're waking up in Palacios Blessings in Bay City, you're not in as dire of a situation at all, and you really can be out and about. The issue comes into part when you really get into the metro area. So I'm going to zoom on out after we've done that little tour for you guys. Again, I know it's a lot of information to get in, but I'm trying to touch every area because a lot of you are asking for specific forecasts, so I hope that helped. On the wide scope, you can see where the circulation is. It's right here to the south of I-10. As it slowly drifts off to the south and east, that is going to improve the situation, and we are expecting this afternoon to have more of a defined rain band structure to Harvey, which would allow us to tap into those breaks in between the rain band and see some of those waterways at least come down. I think they're still going to be flooded, though, Camberwell. It's going to take a lot of time to see us completely, back to in-bank.
We've been through this before, so we know the process when we have to get through the circumstances of the event right now and then coordinate the recovery, and then it all is going to take a tremendous amount of time and resources and patience on behalf of all of us as we go ahead and prepare to get back on equal footing for what we have to do going forward here. But this is going to be continuing, and I am also excited to see this moving just a little bit. It's not moving.
It's a small wiggle, but at this point, we got to take the small wiggle.
It was stationary at one point this morning.
Yes, but between midnight and about 2 o'clock in the morning, Harvey was completely stationary. As of the 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. advisory, I want to go back to the 7 a.m. advisory. The 4 a.m. advisory, we had 1 mile per hour. We're still at 1 mile per hour at this point, so this is the latest advisory. Notice that the direction changed, though. It was going south-southwest at 4 a.m. Now it's going southeast, which is what we saw in satellite. We told you guys about 2 hours ago that when we were analyzing the satellite, it looked like it was going down to the southeast, and in fact, as of the latest advisory, that's what the National Hurricane Center is saying as well.
So you should have your Galveston camera there, I think, of the beach.
Okay, I'll go ahead
Some
and
of the
back.
people, sometimes they have people who take control, so this is one that they
I'll go back and you go, Kimber. I'll go ahead and
they can't control here. So the angry sea, if you will, of Galveston here, and you can tell that this is roiling going on here, and we're not exactly at high tide. I actually saw the surf. The tide was farther in earlier when we were having the issues when Harvey was making landfall. But this is just very active going on out there. Some of the other camera shots we had there, you could actually see the streets are empty, as they should be. And you don't see that very often here in Galveston. But that's a good shot to have. Empty beach. Not going to be anything else like that. We still have the ships that are out there thinking about Galveston. Ships are still
They've been sitting out there for 3 or 4 days waiting to come in, and that's where they're going to be staying. One thing that we should warn people about, Camberwell, if you watched Bill Spencer's report yesterday during our evening newscast, there was a ton of people that drove down to Galveston to look at the angry seas. They wanted to see beautiful large waves. I know that that's exciting, but it's a very dangerous situation to get into. If those folks did not get home last night before all this happened, you're going to end up stranded on a roadway. We're in a situation where flash flooding is going to get intense with little notice. So please, when we start to get these breaks in the rain band, do not venture out. Do not, think about heading down and taking a look at things. You need to stay still.
Another tornado warning just popped up, and it's that same trend. We've been watching this for the last several hours.
This is the warning that we gave you guys that we're going to expect this to come right back. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put a tracker on this. So this is Fort Bend County into West Harris County. The area of rotation is around the Greatwood area. We're tracking it into Crab at 7:35, New Territory at 7:43, Mission Bend at 7:57, and then Cinco Ranch by 8:04. And I'm going to go ahead and find out the timing on that. So tornado warning until 7:45. So it's a 15-minute warning. If you live along the Grand Parkway, connecting you from Katy into the Richmond area and then eventually into Sugar Land, you need to make sure that you're seeking shelter. This is for New Territory and Greatwood. Also, I'm trying to think of some of the other communities out there. Harvest, Oleana, Telefair. All of you folks need to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately. We have no confirmations of a tornado on the ground. Since this whole experience started, though, these have all been Doppler indicated. And yesterday we had at least 4 sites that those Doppler indicated tornado warnings ended up being legitimate tornadoes. So take it as if a tornado's on the ground and seek shelter immediately.
This is following the Grand Parkway all the way up from 59 up. And I would say that it's going to be following along the trend Grand Parkway goes all the way up here, and you can see there's strong storms all the way above Interstate 10 going up toward the 290 area as well. As a result of all that, I would not be surprised. And we dropped this for a while. We didn't have a tornado warning, and then it comes back. By the way, the Brays Bayou currently is, it looks like 4/10 of a foot. I don't know why we would do it like that, but anyway, it's above the previous record of Memorial Day 2015 now.
So Brays Bayou has surpassed not only tax day levels, but Memorial Day levels. And keep in mind, we had Memorial Day 1 and Memorial Day 2. If you live in the specific areas, you'll know which one it was. Whatever you experienced during Memorial Day, if you live along Brays Bayou, you're going to have an instant repeat of that experience, unfortunately.
So that means we have issues now down in the Meyerland area, the Edgewood along Interstate 45, the Hobby Airport area, League City, areas to the north, Greens Point,
we have a good signature
all over.
On this.
Good.
Okay, so our velocity tracker, sometimes you get a good signature, sometimes you don't. So I want to pop it up to see what we can see, because sometimes you can get a tighter and more specific location. The greens are indicating winds that go in one direction in reference to the radar. The reds are another direction. So when you see green and red, that means you got winds in two directions, and that is a spin within that thunderstorm. So when we see that signature, it's a big deal, and it means that we could have a tornado on the ground. So I'm going to pause it at the end. The actual rotation is near the Rosenberg area. It's actually over the Brazos.
Yeah, and that's going to be toward Harlem Road is about here, and then going to FM 528.
I'll go ahead and go tight. If we go a little bit tighter, we can get some roads. So this takes us right into Richmond.
It's Harlem here.
And so Pecan Grove, you guys would be within minutes of possibly being impacted by this tornado. So Pecan Grove, this would impact at least the far west portions of New Territory. It would be traveling up towards the Grand Parkway. So Pecan Grove would be first up, then Foster, and then Cinco Ranch. So folks, if you live in this area, you need to take it seriously. Active as a tornado is on the ground. Get to the lowest level of your home, an interior bathroom or closet. The smaller the space is above your head, the safer you are, because if something comes off your roof, you're going to, lower the chance of a projectile actually hitting you. And this is an area, yesterday between Brookshire and Katy, we sustained some pretty big wind damage. So please, folks, take this seriously. In this area, we've stacked up a lot of rain, but as of
north of 25.
North of 25. Okay, so that's the movement of the storm. It's moving north of 25. So I'm going to go ahead and put on the tracker now that we have a more precise timing on it. This is an area that has had over 6 inches of rain, so we do not have house flooding. We have street flooding, but as of from what we're hearing, there's no flood water in the first level of people's homes. So you need to be in the first level, base level of your home, seeking shelter immediately. Now that we have a more precise movement on this, again, it's moving north at 20 miles per hour. This is the latest information. Cinco Ranch, your timing is 7:56. Katy would be 8:04. So again, the rotation is actually halfway up into the warning. It's around the Pecan Grove area right now, so if you live in Pecan Grove, it's literally right on top of you. Then it's going to be moving into Cinco Ranch and Katy over the next half hour. So Cinco Ranch, you have almost a 20-minute heads up that there's a possible tornado south of you heading in your direction. So make sure that you are taking this warning seriously. You're gathering up your family and heading into a bathroom or an interior closet. You can always follow us live on our app. So if you download the KPRC2 app, obviously you can't take the TV in there. If you take your phone, you can listen in on these warning updates while you're in there. But I do suggest that you go hang out for a half hour in your bathroom. It is worthwhile, and it can save your life.
And you may say, what's the chance that this is not going to happen? We see all these warnings and nothing has happened. Well, you don't want to be the one. Well, we've seen that really good signature on the radar that shows you that that's a pretty good signature. And when we see them, last couple of times we tried to look and put the velocity on, we didn't see that kind of signature. And then the last radar sweep shows this movement up to the north at 25 miles per hour, as Britta said, right over Pecan Grove right now, moving to the north, and Cinco Ranch is in the path of it, and so is Katy.
Looks like this is going to go right over the Grand Parkway.
Oh my God. So we had that first tornado, or one of the first ones, just yesterday morning. Was
Santa Plantation was the first one, but we did sustain some damage. Again, National Weather Service teams have not been able to go do surveys. They're way too busy with what's going on. Eventually, they will do that. So the one in Katy and Brookshire was not confirmed as a tornado, but the damage I saw, I wouldn't be surprised. There was a warning on it.
That's the one we had video of too. So it's kind of, isn't that the one that was video of the one?
That's
in Katy?
In Cyprus.
Cyprus.
Yeah,
okay.
Cyprus had multiple vortexes that we captured on video. One of our viewers did during yesterday afternoon and evening. So again, tornado warning is out for Fort Bend County and portions of Harris County. Pecan Grove, it's working its way through you right now. The storm is moving north at 20 miles per hour. I'm going to go ahead and draw a fresh tracker on this to give you a new time for Cinco Ranch and Katy. Those are the two, areas that are right in there. Also in this area, we have Harvest, we have Aliana. Those are two areas, or two subdivisions that you need to look out for. But Cinco Ranch, the timing is 7:55, and then Katy is going to be 8:04.
And the warning is until 7:45, but you can't go by that because this could hold together. And in this case, if it does hold together, the warning will be reissued with an extension, if you will, beyond that 7:45 spot. So just keep in mind that this is likely the time that this could come into your area. So if you have not been able to find that interior place, you need to do so right now, especially if you are in the line of this particular line of storm. I mean, you've been in this, you've been hearing this coming over you. This is one of those training bands anyway over the last hour. This has been coming over you with heavy downpours and lightning.
We're focusing on the rotation that's happening around Pecan Grove, but look at the entire structure that's involved in the tornado warning itself. We have another little spin up that's happening around the Rosenberg area. So we are focusing on the cell that is over Pecan Grove, but these rain bands, they're elongated and you can get a spin up along the entire rain band. So even around the Rosenberg area, I'm seeing a better signature around Pecan Grove, but still in Rosenberg and New Territory, you still need to be in a safe spot, because if you had a quick spin up that's happening to the south of what's happening in Pecan Grove, you need to make sure that you're protected as well.
Did I actually see that move? They moved the bottom of that box a bit. It looks like
they moved it just slightly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back to the velocity, see if I can see a little signature down there. And in fact, there is a signature. So, it does extend into the one that we're already tracking towards Pecan Grove. But towards the beginning, you can see that it originated in southern portions of that watch box. So Rosenberg and New Territory, not as strong of a signature, but I would still take it seriously. The defined signature is passing Pecan Grove. It's just crossing the Grand Parkway, and that is directly heading into the Cinco Ranch Katy area. So again, I'm going to go ahead and pause this and give you a new timeline. It's moving to the north at 20 miles per hour. If you're just joining us, we have no confirmations of a tornado on the ground, but we have a pretty good signature showing rotation within the thunderstorm. And when you have a rotating thunderstorm, you can get a tornado, and there very well could be a tornado on the ground. So Cinco Ranch, your updated time is still 7:54. Katy's 8:03, so we're not really seeing a large change in time frame there. Right now it's 7:37, so you have a good 10-15 minutes to get yourself in a safe spot. Don't take that long, please. Just go now and find an interior bathroom or a closet.
And if you're waking up now and you're wondering what's going on here, this is a continuation of the same line of storms we've been dealing with since yesterday. The outer bands of what was Hurricane Harvey continuing to come through our area, and we expect, in the way that they're set up now, the area of low pressure, the center of what is Harvey is off to our west, and we expect that these bands will continue to come through throughout the day. These breaks that we look for in the middle, we look forward to that. That gives everybody a chance to take a breather, if you will. It gives the streams and bayous a little bit of a break, but there's so much water that's going to be draining into those areas from all the heavy rain that's fallen. When you talk about 14, 16, 18 inches of rain in 12 and 24 hours, that is an awful lot of rain, and that's good to see there as well. That the green is that light rain that's there.
And the Gulf Freeway, your break's done.
Right.
It's done. But the break is now moving into southeast Harris County, which also was very hard hit. League City, the rain is starting to filter in, so your time frame of the break is finished as well. But we are seeing a break from Pearland along southern portions of the Beltway, right over, close to Hobby Airport, where we do have people that are being rescued from 2-story flood events. I mean, flooding flood water that's getting into the second level of an apartment complex. So to see those small breaks, we got to take what we can get at this point. In terms of tapping into a larger break, folks, that's not going to happen until this afternoon. And we're going to continue to see bouts of heavy rain between now and Tuesday. Then we'll start to see some larger scale improvements for flash flooding by the time we get to Tuesday.
I look at the last update from the Hurricane Center and looking at that rotation there and watching the just glacial pace that it's taking coming in this direction.
Harvey's moving at 1 mile per hour. Granted, it was stalled for a few hours overnight, so we'll take the movement, but 1 mile per hour. It's a very slow-moving system.
And let's just say, for example, that the bands themselves would move in that same pace. Let's say that, just for giggles and grins, that if that's the case, it takes a long time for that 1 mile an hour. But what's happening is we're getting a build-in on top of that. So that's not really an effective number, but just know that the farther this comes to the east, the farther all of this mass, the, quote, dirty side of a tropical system, will move farther to our east and be closer to the eastern part of the state in Louisiana and not being an issue for us. But in the meantime, this tornado warning continues to be in place until the next 7 minutes, the next couple of 3 minutes, actually 5:45 is when it's scheduled to elapse. But if it continues, 7:45. Did I go back a couple of hours? I think I did. So
at this point, the time kind of compounds,
well,
it's understandable. So the latest information on your forecast, folks, flash flooding is going to be a major issue with these, it almost looks like a wall of heavy water right on top of the metro area. We're expecting this to continue through about lunchtime. Then as we transfer into lunchtime into the afternoon, we'll start to see a more classic rain band situation set up with Harvey, and that's going to allow for some very important breaks in between the heavy rain. And those important breaks should help us at least see some improvements with the flash flooding. Unfortunately, we're going to see waves of heavy rain as we go into Monday and Tuesday as well. But the farther this system pushes out to the east, the better the situation is going to be. Unfortunately, river flooding, that's a totally different scenario, and that's going to be a story for not only this entire week, but going into next week. I am going to pop up the latest information from the National Hurricane Center. This came in at the top of the 7 o'clock hour. We'll get another update coming in at, I think 10 a.m. is going to be the next one.
Yes.
And we're expecting this movement throughout the day. So this takes us through Sunday, through tonight into early tomorrow morning. We're moving it down to the southeast. It's crawling 1 to 2 miles per hour, but at least that movement is allowing for maybe, a 20 to 30 mile bump out to the east, which will help us out. The more movement we get to the east, the more that heavy rain is going to be pushing into East Texas and also Louisiana. As we go into Monday, that area of low pressure is over Palacios, again, even more improvement. And then by the time we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, this is a big change from the track that we had last night. It goes over the metro area, which of course will force all of that heavy rain into East Texas and also into Louisiana. And that's when we're really going to see some significant changes our Tuesday into Wednesday.
We are continuing to see very, very heavy rain with this over the last 30 minutes on the west side, that band that we were looking at that caused the tornado warning. We've got rainfall rates of 6/10 of an inch in a half an hour, 4/10, almost half an inch in a half an hour, all the way up through that area, Pecan Grove, 1.1 inch in a half an hour there at that's along Buffalo Bayou and Peak Road. That's associated with that area that's above the West Chase, near just to the east of Fulshire. 1 inch in that half an hour. So very strong, heavy downpours, as well as that circulation that still has that tornado warning in place through that area. So that's going to be a trend going forward. We're going to continue to watch that. 7:45 is when it's scheduled to expire, but there's still some very heavy downpours associated with it. I doubt.
We're coming up on about 2 minutes. So Rachel and Owen, we're going to send it over to you. If this gets reissued, we'll definitely let you know, and that is a possibility. So, just be ready for those tornado warnings, and we'll be back with another update.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. All right, we're going to go to our Ryan Korsgaard. He is out. Ryan, where are you live now?
45, and this has to be the most difficult thing for firefighters. Yes, Edgebrook, thank you. I want to show you right over here. Houston firefighters telling me this is a fire, presumably a house fire. They cannot reach that right now. So imagine, that's your training, that's what you do. You save lives, you save property, and you simply can't reach this. This is Edgebrook right back here. The water has gone down a little bit, but you still can't necessarily get down here to the access road unless you have a higher vehicle like this. As far as the firefighters have been able to get was just a little bit down Edgebrook here. Over there you can see where they had unloaded their boats to go back into that neighborhood to bring people out. So that fire continuing to burn. Just talked to a Houston firefighter and said the frustrating thing is I'm close to the fire, I can see the fire, I can't get to the fire. So that's the difficult thing back in that direction. I want to show you, if we look in this direction, you can see all those blinking lights. That is where we were a little bit earlier, where they're staging, where they're bringing people out of the neighborhoods in those high all-terrain vehicles. So what we're going to try and do is get as far down Edgebrook as we can, probably not very far, as they try and get in there to battle that fire. But again, you have several things going on here at this point. You have a fire, you have people in the neighborhood who are having a hard time getting out, and you have the fire department that wants to get in there and fight a fire and can't. And on the other hand, they're bringing people out of the neighborhood, putting them in metro buses and taking them to higher ground. So a frustrating, difficult time here off of the Gulf Freeway. But now that we have some daylight, I want to show you, this is looking north towards downtown. This is one of the few times that we've actually had that we could take our hood off, that it wasn't raining. But as you look back to the north and to the west, you can see another line moving in this direction, as Britta and Cambrell have been talking this morning. So that's the very latest from the Gulf Freeway. It is closed at this point. A few people have been sneaking by. They really need to slow down, as I hear in a car right there. If you're not emergency workers at this point, not a good idea to be out on the roads. Certainly not in that car at this point. Guys, we'll go back to you, and we're going to try and get a little closer in.
All right, Ryan, thanks so much. I just want to share a quick nugget here from Baylor College of Medicine. We talked earlier, MD Anderson, they're asking employees not to come in unless you're part of that essential team because of the high water situation that's going on in the medical center. Baylor College of Medicine is also saying they're closed for today and Monday. Okay. So if you are a patient who is going to see your doctor tomorrow, Baylor College of Medicine is closed. They're asking only essential personnel come in today and tomorrow.
Well, and a lot of places did close for Monday. They made that decision Friday, things like schools, city, county courts, stuff like that. Presumably, some of that stuff will be closed Tuesday and beyond. We'll just have to wait and see. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but that is a very good point.
Yeah, another little interesting nugget that I saw, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio, he put out there that he is going to go ahead and send 120 emergency personnel to Texas to assist in the aftermath. And you know what he said? I really loved it. He said, you know, after Superstorm Sandy right, and the national response that New York received in the New Jersey area, he says, you know, we're sending what we can.
Well, and that always happens. I mean, you see that, especially with the electric companies a lot of times, those cooperatives.
Says, yeah, they're getting
they
help
come
already.
Here, we go there, et cetera, et cetera. That is really nice.
Coast Guard has been busy as well. The Coast Guard has done 300 plus. Right. They've responded to 300 plus requests for service by air and by water.
So much going on. Tracking Harvey. What do we want to do next, guys?
Okay, all right, let's take that TransStar picture.
What are we going to show you here? So we've got a few high water. Okay, 288 is one of those highways we know typically floods in a situation like this, and it has been bad. That's the camera shot from Holcomb. So, Rachel, you were talking about folks trying to get to the medical center.
Yeah, that 288 is one of the main ways a lot of those folks who work there use to get there.
And while we look at some of this, I can tell you there are close to 200 high water spots around the area. So 288, we're showing you the camera shot here at Holcomb. So let me just tell you, not far down the road, McGregor, Southmore, okay, Holly Hall. If you drive 288, you know what I'm talking about as I say these names. These are all covered. I mean, this water is at this level up and down 288. So it's not like you're just missing one exit. Okay, McGregor, that's one of the other ones I showed you.
Yeah, there
looks like that may be sort of the beginning of it. You see how the road kind of slopes down. Holly Hall, that's your back entrance to the Orange Lot for Texans tailgating there. Look, you can't even get to the roadway. Yeah.
It is near 610. And yeah, we're now seeing these pictures with daybreak coming in and get some daylight to really get an eye up and over our city. And these pictures just really tell the story. 288 and Reed.
So see, you can get right closer there, but you're not going to get all the way in. That person's turning around on the freeway and going back because they realize there's nowhere to go. And of course, they're also doing a lot of construction right there in that area as well, beefing up 288 by 610. Which of course doesn't help either. And here's a camera shot at the North Loop at Lockwood, where the loop is getting by just fine, but down below on Lockwood is a mess. And if you go farther down Lockwood to I-10, all the lanes are closed down there because you're down near Hunting Bayou.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the airports now to update you. 10 minutes till 8 a.m. on Sunday, Bush Airport, 872 canceled flights today.
Here you go.
Yeah.
872, huh?
872. All right. Hobby Airport, they've been closed from early this morning. We got word that they were closed. Yeah, all operations shut down. They're still staying that way. All roads leading to Hobby are closed. Will Clayton Parkway is closed at Lee Road, leading to and from Bush Airport. So definitely contact your carrier, but I would not expect to get in and out of the Houston area through most of Monday. It's not. Yeah, it's just not going to be practical to think you're getting out of town.
Yeah, all the carriers, they're reducing flights. The runway at Hobby had so much water on it this morning they couldn't use it. It's not. They could have technically flown a plane in the rain, but they couldn't use the runway.
Right. Yeah, that's a big problem. All right, let's go to our Kathy Hernandez. She's in the east side of town, I-10 and Uvalde. What's going on, Kathy?
Well, good morning. We were actually headed in this direction. This is westbound on I-10. We were headed in that direction because we had reports that there is water in homes all the way up to the roof. So we were headed in that direction to talk to these families, see exactly what's going on in that area. But this is what we're at now. This is I-10 westbound, actually, coming into town. This is the Market and Uvalde exit where you can see all the traffic is stalled. All the main lanes of I-10 westbound here, the East Freeway, are shut down now. Everyone is being forced to exit. You can see deputies there now are blocking the freeway. Further on down, the issue is that Greens Bayou is under the freeway there, where they also have Hunting Bayou right down the freeway. And so that's where it really becomes an issue. We've seen a number of times that there's been issues all in the communities down this area. This is East Houston again, and this is the exit, Uvalde and Market, that everyone is forced to exit on. We want to talk to this couple right over here. I was chatting with them just a few minutes ago. And now, Steven, right? Tell us where you guys are headed.
We're just driving around, seeing how bad all the weather was, trying to get back to Louisiana.
But you mentioned earlier that you were coming in this direction to check on family, right?
Yeah, my sister's stuck down on Federal, so just trying to make sure they're all right.
And you told me earlier she's been stuck there for quite some time?
Since about 10 o'clock, yes, ma'am.
How are you guys feeling now?
Kind of a little overwhelmed. So we got her dogs with us, trying to take care of them while they're stuck where they're at. So it's a lot to handle.
Oh my gosh! And what about you, ma'am? How are you feeling?
It's like you said, it's overwhelming. It's just knowing the point that I have to be to work this morning. We live in Louisiana, and we thought that we'd be able to leave early this morning to head to work and get to there about 11 o'clock. But we're stuck.
Again, yeah, it's very frustrating for everyone because they're just simply trying to go check on family. I want to come over in this direction so I can show you. Basically, the freeway is flooded, and now all the frontage roads on the I-10 freeway are also flooded. So this is what you're seeing, a bunch of 18-wheelers, even buses, and then obviously there are some cars as well, just stalled here on the frontage road approaching Uvalde. This is what we want to tell you guys, and this is what we have been warning you about. Stay off the roads if you can, and hopefully, things can get better sometime soon, but it doesn't look so good. Guys, back to you.
Kathy, appreciate it. Thank you very much. I want to tell you about a couple shelters that are opening up
Yes, here we go. These are the ones that we've confirmed are open right now. You've got North Shore Ninth Grade Center. This is on Holly Park. Jersey Village Baptist Church on Jersey Drive. We're saying the Chinese Community Center, but I was hearing that was closed. I would double check on that one because they had high water there. I do know for sure that the Campbell Education Center on Aldi Bender is open. These are all information. This is information that we're getting from the American Red Cross, who's doing the coordination on that. And you know, we've seen so many people from our different live shots in these rescues with Sophia Ojeda and other folks that we've seen who have watched these rescues unfold live on television, both by boat and some folks just having to tread through chest-high water with whatever they could get on their backs to those metro buses. Well, now we get a better sense of where those buses are going.
It's been quite a process. I'm sorry, what'd you say, Ray?
This is a shot of behind the station.
Sorry to cut you guys off. I wanted to speak about Police Chief Art Acevedo. He's joining us on the phone. Chief, we're just looking at a picture from our, looks like our radar, our tower camera down on the road behind us. We've got some cars flooded out. Chief, thanks for spending a few moments with us. What's the situation right now? I mean, what's your sort of overall assessment of how we're doing? Chief, are you with us? Okay, having some trouble there.
I'm sure
we'll get him on the phone, though. We've been trying to... Okay,
he's definitely a little busy today, that's for sure.
Say that.
We did want to share with you a tweet that came down from the president this morning. President Donald Trump, he has been tweeting about the response and the efforts here in Houston. As you can see, we've got it up for you. Many people are now saying that this is the worst storm hurricane they've ever seen. Good news is that we have great talent on the ground. He's also said great coordination between the agencies at all levels of government. Continuing rains and flash floods are being dealt with, thousands rescued. And we are seeing it from the Coast Guard. We talked a little bit about their air rescues and their boat rescues. And so now is the time where you start seeing the agencies coming together and bringing in some more resources, because this is definitely a huge natural disaster.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to know we do have the help and resources of not just the state, but of course the federal government as well, coming in to help. And boy, you just feel for those folks that are going to have to be in that situation where dealing with FEMA, dealing with temporary housing. It's like that whole story, that whole after the storm.
The journey just begins, really.
And honestly, we're not out of the woods yet. I don't know if we're going to go back to you guys.
Yeah, we'll check back in with them.
But we are. We want to check back with Brittany Cambrell here shortly, because this is just the beginning, guys. I mean, in some ways.
It is definitely just the beginning in many ways. You know, the small break that Cambrell and I were identifying over the Gulf Freeway, Owen and Rachel, we just heard from somebody in the Friendswood area that at least the water levels were steady during that time, but they did not go down. So that's a little heartbreaking to hear that. And now we're looking at radar and it's filling back in. There's really, I mean, we're looking at hours of continuation. So if you're joining us and you have family members that have water inside their home, or if you are watching us on your cell phone or your iPad and you're sitting on your kitchen table and there's 3 feet of water underneath you, it's not going to get better anytime soon, which is heartbreaking to tell you that, but it is the reality. As we go into the afternoon, that's when we're expecting a few improvements. Cambrell and I have been looking at a few of the models, and we're hoping to see more of a band structure at that point. And once we have more rain bands set up and breaks in between those rain bands, we can see some slight improvements. And Cambrell, it looks like you're checking in with some waterways as well.
I am. All of the waterways are in pretty much, there's a lot that are in major flood stage here throughout. Certainly you know about Friendswood with Clear Creek, where they've been setting record levels in terms of their heights down there. Right now, the Clear Creek area, the record, it was 19 feet, and it is now at 22. So it's already above the record there for them. Brays Bayou, the record is they're well beneath what the record is, according to this latest run, but I've been hearing some other numbers that say otherwise. We'll continue to follow those. Buffalo Bayou at Piney Point, that's above the record now and expected to go well above. The record is 61 feet. It's now at 62 and expected to go up to 68. So if you're along Buffalo Bayou at Piney Point Village, you should look out for that area and know that you're going to be in worse shape than before. Buffalo Bayou at West Belt Drive, that record is 68. It's at 68 now and heading towards 70 before that's all said and done. So those are very high numbers. The Greens Bayou as well on the northeast side along the 59. The record is 66. It's at 61, but it's still considered a major flood stage, and we've been talking about Greens Bayou near the Interstate 10 area where that's well to the north of Interstate 10, but it's going down Greens and Hunting, going down over Interstate 10, which has caused the highway to be closed in both directions. The record is 39, and it's at 39.6. Is heading there. It's 34 now, will be 39.6. So all of the bayous in this area, you can be sure that most of them are either at flood stage, and we're talking not just regular flood stage, but moderate flooding and major flooding throughout the region. We're talking about the 500-year levels. We keep blowing these away. We had the tax day, we had Memorial Day 1, Memorial Day 2, and now Harvey.
Each time it surpasses it.
Each time it surpasses it. The atmosphere is just changing in front of our eyes through the last several years. 5 years. Within the last 5 years, we've seen all these multiple impacts and major impacts on the city of Houston. We learn from them each time, which is the good thing. But these are lessons we'd rather not learn, quite frankly. And this is going to continue to get worse. And this is showing all of the different channels. When you see reds, bad situations. All of them are in negative scenarios, and we see so much red. Everywhere you look, there's red, and that's an indication of where things are out of their banks or close to it. And we've been seeing a lot of those through our traffic cams. You've been able to see some of the shots that show all the roadways that are full. The 288 area, which we saw that was full, all the way the length of 288 loaded with water. Once upon a time, that area between Holly Hall and 610, that happens. In fact, they're doing construction on it now to try to change that.
A typical spot.
Exactly. But now, all the way up to where it goes into the area where the convergence is for 59 and getting ready to go into downtown. That's where 288 starts. Now all of that is underwater.
And I think that was a big question that we were getting over the last 24 hours before this situation unfolded was, the flash flooding that is possible. Is it going to be the typical spots, or is it going to be main lane highways covered in water? And, it's just sad to see the direction, how this is unfolded, and the fact that it's not getting any better. So I'll go ahead and pop up our radar. Now that channel map that Cambrell was showing, you can find it clicktohouston.com. I've put it on my Twitter account and also my Facebook account, which is KPRC2 Britta Merwin. You'll see the link right there. And you can check on the rainfall totals while you're there and also the watersheds, because Cambrell, our system is set up very specifically for draining. Obviously, the draining is not going to begin for some hours, but can you give a little more insight to folks at home, especially for people that are not familiar with our area? How does it work? Point out how everything works in terms of when it shuts off, how do we drain out?
Everything heads toward Galveston Bay and the Gulf of Mexico. So all of the bayous and the creeks, and you see Cypress Creek that drains in this direction, it all drains across and down into the Galveston Bay. When we're seeing Buffalo Bayou downtown, this is what is a historic waterway from the time Houston was built. Buffalo Bayou has been a part of our history, comes all the way across downtown and in. And by the way, it's fed by streams that are well to the north. Streams, Langham Creek, Bear Creek, all of those feed into Addicks Dam, which feeds into Buffalo Bayou, which then comes across and then comes down into the Galveston Bay. All of that heads down in this direction. Same thing for League City. When you come down across Friendswood, down in League City, that's all streaming across this direction. That's why when it comes down to Clear Creek, coming across into Friendswood and into the Galveston Bay area, Shore Acres, Seabrook, and those areas, that's why that gets full. And that gets full, and it's at a 500-year level now as well. We've seen that was 8 to 10 feet out of its banks, I think, the last time we looked at that. And so that's all draining down as well.
of taking care of what is happening. So the storm fatigue is going to be a big issue. And Cambrell, the point that you brought up about the heavy rainfall that's now stacking up in our north counties, it's important to keep in mind that it's going to have to drain out. And I know that you've put together a couple slides to talk about the flooding that we're going to see on our riverways as well. This is not on the north side of town, but we'll pop it up. This is the Brazos River at Richmond, and this is going to be a big story as we move forward for the rest of the week.
It's going to continue because it's going to continue to rise. Look at the rapid rise that it's expecting. It's going along here, no rain, and now from yesterday morning, from that point up to 21.17, which is the point that it is right now.
That's an 8-foot jump in 24 hours.
And then the next 24.
The next 24 is 21, let's see, to Monday
33
morning.
Feet.
This takes us up to 45. So we go from 22 feet to 45 feet in 24 hours along the Brazos. I mean, that's a 20-foot jump in 24 hours. That's almost 1 foot per hour that we're expecting within the next 24 hours along the Brazos.
And this major flood area at 50.
Owen and Rachel actually need to take it, so we'll look into this in just a few moments.
Sorry, guys, to interrupt you. They just suggested we get some action for you here while we had it.
Oh, my word. Yeah, they're doing high water rescues. This is Sophia Ojeda. Sophia is live. Sophia, what's going on?
Hey guys, this is Friendswood Link Road. This is another boat full of people that are coming out of this neighborhood here. This is near 528. Friendswood police, Friendswood firefighters, volunteers helping people that are stuck in their homes back there. They were telling us that the water is up to their chest and rising. We were halfway down this street past this boat here and the water was just up to our knees. We're all the way back now. It's rising so quickly, and they're telling us that there are more people back in that neighborhood that are still stuck, that still need help. Let's see if anyone wants to talk to you. Ma'am, are you guys okay? Can we walk with you and talk with you? Can you tell us what you've just been through?
You should talk to the others, okay?
Okay. No worries. We understand. Ma'am, can we talk to you just about what you've been going through?
Oh my gosh.
Can I help you carry this?
Yes, ma'am. We're about under maybe 5 feet of water in our home. And so we called for rescue about 3:30. They just now was able to get here. It's just awful.
What were you guys doing that whole time?
Preparing. We had animals. We put them all upstairs on second level at the back. And just trying to get some of our necessities ready. That's what we're doing.
What was going through your mind, ma'am? What is going through your mind now?
Well, I think I stayed pretty calm until maybe now.
Yeah. Are they going to take you to the elementary school?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Be safe, ma'am.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
We will thank y'all so much.
So, guys, this is just one boat full. Maybe I can try and talk to the first responders here, if they would answer some of the questions. I don't know if they're pretty busy. You know what? Actually, we talked to some earlier today, and they were telling us that they need fuel. They've been working around the clock, and they're running out of fuel for their boats. And they actually asked our photographer a way out. So Gil told them how we came in a couple hours ago, and I think they went that way to try to find more fuel, to try to find food for the boats and for the officers who are going back and forth and in and out, working around the clock, trying to get to these families, trying to get to these people. Ma'am, are there more people still in your neighborhood? How many people would you say that there's still?
60, maybe, or 50. They're going to go get.
Are they outside? Are they on top of their cars?
Some of them are out. Some of them are still inside. We're about up here to water inside. Yeah, but they're all waving. They're okay. Yeah, they're going to be all right.
This water rising so quickly, did you think that this would get to this point?
We never flooded, even during no flooding, ever. We just were amazed, really. And then my husband's still there. He's getting the last of the animals up and our bird. And yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Sir, can we talk to you? Okay, you're good. All right, we're going to try and get to a first responder here and see if one of these guys will talk to us for a second right now. I don't know if we can just find out what the situation is. I know that they're super busy. Sir, sorry to bug you. Do you think that you can give us an update really quick, just a quick update about the situation back there? If you guys need help, if you guys need...
boats.
You need boats?
Boats.
You need boats, okay.
We need boats.
All
Definitely
right, so
need
come
boats.
out here and help you guys.
People that have experience with boats.
Okay. How many people are still back there?
Probably hundreds.
Hundreds. Okay, sir. All right. Thank you. They're busy. They're telling us they need help. They need people that are experienced with boats. They need boats out here. There are hundreds of people still here. This is Friendswood Link Road. This goes back towards 528, back in that direction. This is near Clear Creek. Again, they're telling us they need people who have boats that can come out here that are experienced to help get these people out of that neighborhood. It sounds like another boat may be coming in with more people. Guys?
That is just incredible. Sophia, hundreds more, they say, back there.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Down the road. I was just checking. I mean, the Clear Creek has risen, in fact, on both sides of where she is. It's 12 feet over by West Bay Area Boulevard, 12 feet over the top of the banks.
All right, look at this. Yeah, this is one of the airboats they were talking about. We've been hearing, they're asking folks, if you have a Josh boat or an airboat like what you're seeing here, they need help. And it sounds like from what Sophia said as well, they're looking for fuel. Because you can imagine, these folks have been running back and forth in these boats pretty much nonstop for hours. Hours now today. This is in the Friendswood area. And you can see, I mean, people just grabbing whatever they can hold in two hands and on their backs, and that's it, with their children and their animals, trying to get to safety. And this is a big area back there, completely cut off now, except for boat and maybe helicopter if they can get it in. That's about it.
Well, that's the other thing. I mean, you may take a boat just to get there to help those folks out. I mean, depending on where that help might be coming from. So again, we're watching these water rescues taking place in Friendswood, where boy, the creek has just spilled over. That's it, and then it's unfortunately inundating now what's sounding like dozens and dozens of homes back in that neighborhood.
Definitely. So. Are we able to take a look at the latest tweet from the president? Yes, we put that up for you now. He just tweeted this minutes ago. I'm going to be going to Texas as soon as that trip can be made without causing disruption. The focus must be on life and safety. This tweet just coming in a few moments ago from President Trump. We also have new information about A-Leaf.
Yeah, the district was waiting to make a call on what they were going to do for school opening Monday and Tuesday. They've gone ahead and decided to close for both days, which isn't not a bad move. I mean, seeing what we're seeing, how much more rain is expected.
Yeah. So they're asking families just to continue to check their social media, the district website. They're going to continue to update it as much as possible. So definitely do that if you are zoned to A-Leaf ISD. All right,
go ahead. I was just going to say, that's nice that they do this now. Give families kind of a little bit of peace of mind to say, look, the only thing that you need to do over the next couple days is just be safe. You don't have to worry about anything else. Just take care of yourself and your family.
Absolutely. And it's so important in a situation like this. And even as we're doing these airport, a lot of folks who were able to leave left earlier last week, toward the tail end of last week. And they're worried about coming back in. Am I going to be at school Monday? When do I have to be at my job Tuesday? So just kind of keep that in mind as you're talking to friends who may have left town and are kind of weighing what they want to do, because as Britta's been telling us in Cambrell, this is going to continue, this rainfall, through Wednesday. If we're lucky, it'll end Wednesday.
Yeah, if we're lucky.
We're lucky.
So what you're looking at here, this is Highway 59, the Southwest Freeway, I-69, I guess they're calling. It's going to take me a while to get used to saying it that way. But anyway, this is between Bissonnet and Gessner. So Brays Bayou goes under the freeway there. The freeway is kind of low in that area. You see the Bissonnet exit. So not only can't you get off at Bissonnet, I'm not sure that you might be able to squeeze by on the left lane of the highway if you were but I can't tell because we haven't seen any vehicles drive by there. Obviously, the northbound traffic's getting by okay, but look at the debris field that's pushed. That was how high the water was, presumably earlier. It pushed all that debris out into the northbound lanes of the freeway. So this is the only way to get through across the bayou is to get up on the freeway and cross it. You won't get. That's the only way to get over the bayou.
Yeah, it definitely. Just the roads out there, the pictures we're seeing now that daylight is out, really just incredible when you see some of our biggest thoroughfares, 610, just a complete river.
Yeah. And we did see just now, sorry to interrupt, someone going southbound there on 59. So they were able to squeeze by on the southbound lanes, but if you keep going farther, let me see, I was trying to find out how much farther south you'd have to go before you got into some trouble again, because presumably there is more trouble ahead.
All right, here's what you're looking at right now. This is a picture sent in to us from Alan Arcio. He sent this in via Facebook, and you can see, oh my gosh, a car park, South Gassner Road, Ariel Street in Southwest Houston.
Ariel Street.
And you can see right there, water, he's telling us, is knee-high in that area.
Oh, well,
And here's another picture from Alan as well, kind of turning in a different direction. This is from Michelle. Yeah, this is from Nicole Yvette Mac Robinson. She sent this via Facebook. FM 1765, Winding Way in Lamarck.
Okay. Well,
Shows
yeah,
front
Lamarck's one of
yards,
those areas.
nearby streets underwater. I think Sophia Ojeda is ready for us to go back to her now. She's been following some of these rescues, incredible rescues. Sophia.
Guys, we're talking to Mike now here. He is going to give us a perspective of what he's seen during this time. His daughter, your daughter, is still on the other side of this neighborhood. Tell us about that.
My daughter's got ankle-deep water in her house right now, and they're waiting to get them out because other people have deeper water. So my neighborhood is good. The retention pond's completely full, but just looking down this way, that's probably 5 feet higher than Allison was. So, and who knows how much more we're going to get.
Still rising. I saw you helping with that elderly woman.
Yeah. I don't know who she is. It's just she needed help.
This is hard. This is hard to witness. This is hard.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind right now to witness this?
It's, to get this much rain in 24 hours, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock last night, everything was cool. And then the heavens opened up, and we're getting 5 inches of rain an hour. So it's, it just looks like, and I hope that the heaviest of the rain is kind of splitting around us right now to give the creeks here a chance to recover a little bit.
We need a break.
Yeah.
You're hearing the first responder telling us we need help. They need boats out here.
Yeah, somebody just pulled up in that airboat. That's a private boat, I believe, and they put a responder on it to help rescue people. So I know as much as you do as far as that goes. But
all right, Mike, thank you so much. Stay safe.
Yeah.
Go get some more, get dry. All right, so that is what we're hearing too. First responders are telling us that they need boats. This is Friendswood Link Road. This is near Clear Creek, near 528. There are water rescues underway right now. We weren't sure about the number, but just a few minutes ago, officials told us that number, hundreds, in the hundreds. There's still people in this neighborhood. I'll have Gil make his way up this way and just kind of zoom in past the trees there. That is where they're coming and going. They've been coming and going since we got here several hours ago. We also witnessed some people walking down that way. They're in chest-high water, yelling out to their loved ones, yelling out to them, telling them that, they're going to be okay, they're going to come and get you. But again, officials telling us that they need help. They're running out of fuel for their boats. They need people to come here that have experience with boats. And the folks that are coming out of this area that are being rescued, they're taking them down to Wedgwood Elementary. That is just about a quarter mile down the road or so. And they're staging those folks there. Let's see what this guy's doing. Is he going to help? Hi, sir. You're coming here to give them fuel? Yes, yes, they do need fuel, sir.
I've got 5 gallons.
5 gallons? All right, this gentleman said that they heard that they needed fuel, so he is coming to give them some fuel. I think the community coming together, that response has been overwhelming. There are folks that don't know any of these people that are stuck in this water. They said, I'm coming out to help them, because at this point, this is catastrophic.
It is catastrophic.
Any help that you can give at this point is appreciated. All right, this gentleman is telling us he's bringing some fuel here.
Sophia, you hear the desperation in like Mike's voice when you were talking to him. You feel so bad for those folks. This all started, I mean, it was dark just a couple hours ago when you showed up, and that one guy, I mean, he didn't even have a shirt on. He's running down there throwing ropes to people. I mean, this is incredible what's happening.
Take out
It is incredible, and I do want to just hear from this gentleman, sir. You heard that they needed fuel.
Yes.
What went through your mind that you got in your car in the middle of a hurricane? You just said, I got to bring it.
Well, I've got a generator at the house, and I've got almost 50 gallons of gas, so I'll be all right. So they needed more than I do.
I'm trying to plug in my plug.
This is hard to talk about. This is emotional for all of us.
Oh yeah. We've been up all night watching the news, watching you guys. So with Britta and Kimbrell, everybody. Yeah, keeping us going.
To hear what some of these folks are going through back there, what is going through your mind?
I just want everybody to be safe. It's hard for everybody, but
I'm not worried about it.
They need help, and we all got to pitch together and help everybody else out.
Do you live nearby? Have you ever seen this area get this bad?
In '79, it got pretty bad, but for Allison, I haven't seen it this bad. No, my neighborhood didn't flood for Allison, but at 1:30 this morning, I'm starting to panic a little bit with the water getting a little close to the front door. That it didn't do that for Allison. So there's a lot of water for sure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming out and bringing this fuel, sir. Thank you so much. And we've got two people. I think that they're volunteers here. That they came in on paddle boats. They're talking to a Friendswood police officer. I do want to grab them here and ask them a few questions if they'll let me. But I don't know. Hold on a second. Ma'am, hi. Sorry about you. I know you're trying to help. You're coming out in a paddle boat. Do you live here?
We live back there by the creek.
Okay. You heard about what was going on back here, and you.
The house was 4 foot underwater. So
what's going through your mind when you see this?
Shit. Well.
Grief.
Yeah. What did you see when you went back there? We're being told that there's hundreds of people.
Stops.
Were there people on top of their?
Yeah. So we're headed back
to get them. You said that there was a mother and a baby.
Yeah, down the road.
They still need to get out.
Yeah.
Okay. You stay safe, ma'am. Okay. All right. Oh, and what you were just talking about, the overwhelming show of support. Her house is 4 feet underwater, and she gets in a paddle boat to check on her neighbors. She gets in a paddle boat to let police know that there's other people that need help. Just overwhelming.
These are incredible people. I know I personally have never been in that situation, but I guess at one point you have to accept the fact that you're alive, you're okay, and
that's
if your
what I
belongings
just said.
are destroyed, so be it. We're going to help each other out here. I mean, that's
what I just said.
And for some folks, it's just the empowerment
I
of
don't think the
being
people
able to
know
be
how to
active
deal with things.
and feel like
That's
you're doing
the
something.
issue.
The guy who brought
They
his
don't know how to
5
deal with it.
gallons
They can't deal
of
with it. Y'all look
gasoline,
at
the
the
woman
light.
who's coming to check, even if she's got her own situation going on.
Bellaire,
It's being
Texas.
able to be active when you feel hopeless. That
Shit.
sometimes can be a game changer for you emotionally. It's just incredible pictures there. Sophia, we'd love to see how this community, the entire Houston area, we're the 4th largest city. We got a lot of people who live here from a lot of different places around the country and the world. But when it comes down to it, you do see that big Texas heart.
Well, yeah, it's a small town, right? Big
It
city,
is the biggest small town. I do say that all the time. Sophia, I know earlier we saw that airboat that came in. That was one of the folks who volunteered, correct?
Yeah, these are volunteers, and you guys, let me tell you something. When I talk to these folks and I look them in the eye, and they are overwhelmed, they are scared, they are worried, but they're hopeful. They're hopeful that their little bit of gesture is going to make a difference, which it does, and it will. And it's just incredible to be here with them.
This is a terrible analogy, but it's like little raindrops. They all add up.
They do.
They all work together.
I know.
Look
at these folks, and they've got to be exhausted, those responders, because you've seen them, Sophie, out there. They've been out here for hours.
They have, and Gil, I'm going to have you turn this camera around. I see another gentleman bringing more gas, more gasoline to help load up these boats and help out these folks who need it the most. Sir, can we talk to you? Hi, Channel 2, we're live.
I just heard on the channel. That's the reason I just brought some gas, because I had some. I said, I don't need, so they need it. I just brought it.
That is amazing.
It's my pleasure, yeah. We need to do it. We are in the community, and we have to do it, and we must do it. All of us must do it.
You live close by now.
Oh yeah, I live here just maybe about 3 minutes.
To see this.
Oh yeah, I saw.
What
It's scary. It's scary. May God help all of us. May God protect all of us. It was so scary, and it was really to contemplate you. I mean, the things that when we have, we need to be thankful to that, and when we need it, we need to give to the people, and we help them people.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for coming out.
And thank you for letting us know, because I didn't know. We saw on the channel. I said I'm gonna go and give them right now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And we've got another gentleman here. It's incredible. I mean, I said this maybe a couple minutes ago, and we've already got 4 or 5 gallons of gasoline coming.
You put out the
sir, thank you for bringing this. I personally want to thank you for them. Obviously, they've been here all night. They've been working. What made you want to do this? You're out here. You're barefoot.
Oh, my wife. She just saw y'all on TV, and we had extra too. So, I want to be able for them to get in there.
Yeah. What do you think about this when you see
it's
this?
Devastating. My wife was just over here. We got a friend. Yesterday, everything was just perfect. And then, 12 hours later, underwater again. Yeah, they all flooded what was it, Alicia? Yeah, all these went down about 10, 15 years ago. Can't remember when it was, but here we go again.
Yeah. It's incredible to see.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to move. I'm in the middle of a street, and we're high. The ends flood, but right now I could get through. But normally it's real high and everything. It's good. But,
all right, sir. Thank you for coming out here. Thank you. All right, guys. So we've got 3 full tanks here of gasoline that folks just dropped off, and Friendswood Police just filled up their boat just now. They finished filling it up. They're heading back out. You can see the other volunteers who came up in paddle boats. They're going back into that neighborhood to check on their neighbors. The woman telling us that there is a mother and a baby, and she knows is back there. She told Friendswood police officer, so maybe she's guiding them and letting them know exactly where they should be going. We also got word of another boat, but this one was a volunteer boat that came in and said, you know what, I'm going to help out too. It's incredible to see these pictures of this high water, but you know what? They don't mess around when it comes to being friends in Friendswood, if you will.
Sophia Ojeda puts out the call, and the people of Friendswood respond with immediate action. We like to see, this is the public service that we truly feel, which is why a lot of us got into this business in the first place. So good work, Sophia, out there.
We'll
keep checking up.
And here we are. We're hearing about these rescues. We're seeing folks bring supplies, and I get a message here from Kim, whose son and his partner and the family are down on Evergreen Drive, Bayou Crest and Dickinson, and they've got hip-high water in the house, and nobody's coming to help. So the best thing is to try to call 911, stay on the line, wait it out. But that's the best advice, unfortunately, because there are so many still stranded, waiting for those angels to come through and rescue them.
You got to go higher at this point. A couple housekeeping notes also to let you know. Texas Children's Pediatrics and their urgent care clinics are closed today. So keep that in mind if you do have young children and you come in an emergent situation. The urgent care clinics are closed. And they're just asking that emergency personnel and the ride-out teams be on hand. And that's it. Galena Park ISD also decided to go ahead and extend their closures to Monday and Tuesday.
That's right.
All right. Let's check in with our Ryan Korsgaard and see where he is and what's new.
I'll tell you what, we've been watching, and this is Edgebrook. We've made our way down here. The water has gone down a little bit, but not enough for people like this to try and get through. We've watched a couple of cars make it through, but you can see as this Tahoe approaches that SUV, or I should say SUV there, that drowned out, and it just kind of floats out of the way. Not a good idea. Edgebrook has been known for years to flood, but they seem to have fixed the problem in the last few years with new drains and a new drainage system in this area. You can see we were smart. We parked our live truck over there high and dry. But you literally have to step through. It's at least a foot of water between here and there, and these people making the poor decision to try and drive through it. They've made it. Not everybody has. Up there is the Gulf Freeway, and you can literally see somebody at this point walking along the overpass as they walk by. People have been stuck here all night after the businesses closed here on Edgebrook. They have not been able to go home to their families. Let's walk over here to this restaurant and talk to Letty. She said that they have been hanging out. There's really nowhere to go. Give me an idea. When did you get here yesterday, and any idea when you're going to get to go home?
Well, I was here to work on my regular shift. I was here at 6 o'clock, and then all of a sudden it started raining like around 9 or 10. And then I'd rather stay because I didn't think it was safe for us, like for me to go and drive, because it was raining super like hard. And then I'm like, no, I can't go. The other girls, they tried to go home and they still stuck somewhere else. So
at least you know you're safe and you have food at this point. Have you seen a lot of people coming out of the neighborhood? I've been told people were stranded there in the neighborhoods.
Yes, it's just been crazy all night long. My husband is trying to get here right now to get me home.
What has he said? Any progress on his part?
He's about to get here. I'm still waiting.
Any idea how long it will be?
Well, he said it probably like 10 more minutes. I've been here stuck all night. My car is parked over there, but I don't want to move my car because I don't want to risk it either.
Good idea. We've seen a lot of people taking that risk. We appreciate it, lady. Thank you very much. Again, let me show you. The city has been using dump trucks to go in there, to go into this neighborhood to bring people out. Public Works Department. That is the best way to get around. Either a dump truck, a big truck, or really anything that has high profile structure on it that can get you up out of the floodwaters. They will go in. They will bring more people out, and they will take them back under the overpass, deposit them. That's where they'll be picked up by the Metro bus. And if you were with us about 4 o'clock this morning, they were loading people onto those Metro buses to take them to higher ground. So it's kind of repeating that process. And Xavier, if we can spin around, it looks like there's another one of those trucks right there under the overpass, getting ready to head in this direction as well. So it kind of goes on and on. I take that back. That's a fan boat. You start to see things after a few hours. But they're going to take that fan boat into this neighborhood, hoping to bring more people out. So it kind of goes on and on. There are people still stuck back there. We know that. I've talked to one of the families, and they're trying to get an address to these rescue workers so they can go in and hopefully bring some folks out. So it goes on and on. But Rachel, Owen, it's a sad deal. You pointed out earlier, they went to sleep last night thinking there was a little bit of rain, and they wake up with the water in their homes in many cases.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it just came on so fast. Yep. All right, Brian, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Yeah, just unbelievable pictures we're seeing at this hour. As we're kind of at the halfway point, we're hoping with what's looking like a 4 to 5 day event.
That's right. Hopefully we can catch a little bit of a break. Let some of these creeks and bayous let out a little bit. Let them decrease a little bit because they're going to have to take on more rain. And we have to come to you guys for a little help too, because we're having problems getting our own folks in here.
We are.
To get out and cover all of this. And so anyone with a high-profile vehicle between monster Southwest truck. Houston and the Galleria area somewhere, a big monster truck wants to help us out, Britta, Cambrell, they could pick up a few news reporters and bring them into work.
Out the call. I think everybody just has to band together. And what a heartwarming moment to see Sophia Ojeda.
Oh, wasn't that great?
I mean, that was just amazing to see people that heard her report and literally showed up within a 5-minute window.
Incredible.
2 or 3 individuals. Very cool stuff.
When I get a chance, we have a tornado warning. We'll talk about that. But you said, Owen, that you've never experienced that before. I have. We'll talk about that a little later on and try to share a little bit of what those people are feeling. This just dropped just a few minutes ago. Tornado warning until 8:45 this morning down in Brazoria, moving up past Lake Jackson, Angleton, West Columbia area, moving to the north at about 30 miles per hour. This has been a continuing trend, seeing these thunderstorms spinning up quickly and many times going down a little bit as well. But we've seen these warnings extended for quite some time. We don't know if that's going to happen in this case, but now in the next few minutes, 8:37, Brazoria, 8:54, Bailey's Prairie, 9 o'clock, Holiday Lake. So that's what's been going on. We continue to see tremendous downpours. We've been watching the rain that's been coming in, although it's less now than it was earlier. As heavy as it may seem, it's a lot less than it was earlier.
It's unbelievable. So we're going to switch to our rainfall rate on our imagery here. So where you see blue, that's a rainfall rate of a 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rain per hour. And where you see the green along this heavy rain band where we do have that tornado warning is 1 to 2 inches per hour. So if you can imagine a normal afternoon thunderstorm in Houston, 1 to 2 inches per hour would cause some ponding on the roads, maybe a little bit of feeder flooding. That would be a normal afternoon rainfall rate. If you go backwards by about 6 hours at the peak of this event, when the Gulf Freeway was having,
I know where you're going with this.
Exactly. I mean, rainfall rates of 6 inches per hour compared to a 1/2 inch. Right now in the Gulf Freeway, our rainfall rates are around a 1/2 inch of rain per hour compared to 6 inches per hour. And that rainfall rate was sustained for several hours, which is how we stacked up over 20 inches of rain in less than a 12-hour period. And again, we're discussing what happened on the Gulf Freeway, which is still happening. The rainfall rates have come down, but the catastrophic flooding is still occurring. In fact, Clear Creek is still, the latest check, I think it was 10 feet out.
Yes.
We actually have it right here, so let me click on it. Let's see, that's green. I believe it's right here. Here's Clear Creek. So this is by where Sophia Ojeda is located. This is Clear Creek at Friendswood. You know, the record is 19 feet. We're at 22 and a half.
And it came up, and look how quickly it came up. It's impressive seeing where we are on the record, but look how quickly. This is the time down below, and then you can see how much the creek came up in that short period of time. Look where it went from here.
From 2 a.m. to 8 a.m., a 6-hour difference. It went from 7 feet to 22. So let's see, it's been quite some time. 15 feet. 15 feet in 6 hours.
So it's spilled out of its banks, and it's in the roadways. We've seen 5 to 10 inches in the intersections near Clear Creek down in that area, and it's just an amazing scenario when that water comes out and it doesn't have anywhere to go. And that's one of the less places. You've seen some of these people walking in waist and chest deep water, so you know that some of those areas, and that's kind of a low-lying area as it heads right down into the Gulf, into the Galveston Bay rather. So it's the lowest part. So when it settles there, it really becomes a problem. And all of this one area here is where the rain was concentrated. That throughout, you could touch any point and pop up how many inches had fallen in that 12-hour span of time, and it would be 12 inches. 10 inches, 11 inches, all of that in one area. Harvey Airport's included in all of that. We've had some stories of people who were, the lower levels of their homes were flooded, and they're going up to the upstairs because of a lot of the heavy rain that's been falling. Look at this is all in this one area. These two are in that same area, and this one. 11.89, 11.76, 11.8, all in one general area. This is over in Sugar Land, and then I-10 and Normandy is to the north and east. So that's a widespread area of really heavy downpours. Record set at Harvey and Bush Intercontinental Airports yesterday. That should not be a surprise. League City, where the Weather Service's National Weather Service office is, 14 inches yesterday.
And this is the 24-hour totals, which I guess we could call the storm totals, but we did have rain, during the day yesterday.
Yes.
That's not included within this. So from what we received since about 9 o'clock last night that created this catastrophic flooding event, 12 to 25 inches. And I mean, Cambrell, the geography, it's so widespread. In fact, we haven't had that much rain covering that real estate, since Memorial Day.
And beyond, because those are all kind of isolated areas when you think about it, but not this. I talk about this all the time, and when we're forecasting for the area, our area that we forecast for, the counties that you generally see on the maps that we put up, 17,000 square miles. That's a big area.
Big area.
All of this area has been impacted by this storm in a magnificent way, in ways that we've never been able to describe before. That is what the challenge is for all of this area to recover. Bigger than many states, our area, that's 17,000 square miles, bigger than many states. And we love it, we care about it, but now we're facing a challenge. We're going to have to be able to get through this. We've got the heavy rains that will continue to travel.
And we're getting a few questions from you guys, so keep the posts on Facebook and the emails coming. A lot of you are concerned about Addicks Reservoir. So, Cambrell, can you touch on that quickly?
Yeah, Addicks Reservoir, and when it gets to a certain height, Highway 6, which runs between Interstate 10 and goes up north from Interstate 10, that area, it gets flooded. And there's some other areas that will get flooded as well, but it's not to the level where houses flood. And we've seen that happen before. Top of Spillway, haven't seen that.
And that's about a 10-foot gap, correct?
Yes, not that big of a gap. 95 feet for the top, for the Highway 6 flooding, and we do expect that to happen momentarily.
Yeah, so once you have Highway 6 flooding, you have 10 feet until water's actually into homes.
The problem with that is that a lot of that rain that we see curving around is landing in that watershed where we have Langham and Bear Creek leading down into that area. So that's all draining over the Interstate 10 up in this area. All of the drainage is happening over here is going to be draining down into the Addicks Reservoir area. So that's always Highway 6 there, Addicks is over here, and all of the rain that's falling down into the heavy rain is all draining down to the Addicks Dam, and then the Addicks Dam water comes down into the Buffalo Bayou and then traverses all along here. The Piney Point Village areas we talked about, really record-setting heights there as well, along the Buffalo Bayou trek to the bay. So all of that's going to be a challenge, and we continue to see really heavy rainfall, including these spin-up and these tornado warnings that we've been seeing on a regular basis. I think there were about 70 yesterday, tornado warnings. I heard some, I think our friends at the Weather Channel were counting them up. Better them than us.
So many. So we only have one active tornado warning. It's in Brazoria County. I'm going to go ahead and put a tracker on this and draw it out. It's moving up to the north, and the latest time frame would be 8:48 for Brazoria, 9:04 for Bailey's Prairie, 9:10 for Holiday Lakes. So again, if you live in Brazoria County, it looks like it could possibly cross over to 88, depending on exactly where that rotation is. But again, you need to make sure that you're in a safe spot, folks. Rainfall totals in this area, we're not seeing a ton of flooding into first levels, so most likely you're in your first level. Stay there, center part of your home, by a bathroom, a hallway, a closet. That's where you want to be when we have these tornado warnings drop.
Any rotation on this one at all?
Let's go ahead and pop it up. So Cambrell's talking about our Velocity product. No, we're not really seeing it. You can tell, for us, we can see a little bit of a spin closer to 35. Right. But what we directly look for, and there it was. Okay, let's back it up. Cambrell, go ahead and point this out. This is what prompted the warning for sure.
Right in here. You see that?
Go ahead and move it forward
right
for you.
All of that moving right there. And that's on the northern end of the tornado warning area, but it moved on through here to the Holiday Lakes area at 747 here, moving up across 35, moving up to the north at 755, at 8 o'clock, moving on up in the Holiday Lakes and through there. So they got the warning until 8:45 coming up. So I'm
and this is real time now, 8:41, and I'm not seeing that strong signature. It doesn't mean that there is no rotation. Obviously there's rotation because there's a warning, but the signature is not very defined, so it's hard for us to track that way. So again, a tornado warning for Brazoria County. You folks definitely need to seek shelter, immediately. So I'll go ahead and draw that out and give you one more time update. Not expecting too much difference in the timing, but just in case you're just joining in. Again, Old Brazoria, 8:44, Bailey's Prairie, 8:58, and then Holiday Lakes at 9:04.
Been a discussion about how much longer we're going to be in this kind of torrential rainfall. The bands, of course, is what really affects us more than anything else, and all these bands continue to be drawn in from the Gulf, and that's all being drawn in toward the center of rotation. You can pretty much make that out right there, the center of what's left of Harvey, and the latest National Hurricane Center track wants to bring it to the south-southeast a little bit and then curve back up in this direction. And the good news about that for us is that if you think about all of this heavy rainfall sliding over with that rotation, then that would move that out of here. It doesn't mean that we're not going to get rain close to that low, but it just means that the heaviest rain will be out of here. But the general, the rule of thumb and the general consensus is at this point that for the next 24 to 48 hours, we will continue to see this kind of rain. That's what I've been thinking about now in terms of...
We might see breaks within the bands, but... they're not going to provide a large enough break for significant
Talk about why, because you talked about if we get some sunshine today, we could get some more breaks.
Yeah.
A lot of times when we say, uh-oh, that destabilizes things, but people might be confused by
it's a very complicated setup. When you go into the overnight hours, your temperature drops a little bit, and it reaches the same temperature as the dew point. So everything is just saturated, relative humidity 100%, and we start to see everything fill in, and it's just like a blob of rain. As we go throughout the next 2 hours, we have that small window in time where we're going to see a little bit of clearing in between those bands and possibly a few breaks, a change in the structure. But then as we go into the afternoon, your heat increases past that point, and you start reaching convective temperatures. So that's, upper 80s, low 90s, depending on the day. But as those temperatures reach convective levels, then you get thunderstorm development. So there's a small window in time where we could set up a more band structure and tap into those breaks, but we just have to watch out for that thunderstorm development, because then you have that as an added threat. So we're trying to find those small parts in the forecast and the dynamics where we could catch small breaks, but that's the problem, is that they're glimmers of small breaks. It's not a huge improvement, and we're not going to see that until we go into Monday and Tuesday, and a lot of that goes back to the official track. Again, we're not going to get another update from the National Hurricane Center until we get to 10 o'clock. So this is the latest one. I was looking for the graphic, so forgive me for getting a little jumbled there. So the 7 a.m. advisory, has the position of that low just to the southeast of San Antonio. During the day today, so let me pause it tonight. This is around midnight tonight. That's the only movement we're getting here, folks. So, to estimate that, maybe about 50 miles down to the southeast. So that's not enough for major improvement. We'll still have bouts of heavy rain. And then I'll add on Monday. I'm going to pause it midnight on Monday. So during the day tomorrow, that gets us to Palacios. That would add to some improvements.
Right. Theoretically, it would push the heaviest rains farther to the east, to our friends in Beaumont and beyond.
We would still have rain, don't get us wrong, but it would push it a little farther east and tap us into breaks. And then the real improvement is here, Kimbrell. And we've seen a huge shift between this change came in for the 4 a.m. advisory, and they held on to it for the 7 a.m. advisory. So I'm interested to see the 10 o'clock advisory from National Hurricane Center to see if this stays, because if this path stays, and I know at home you're saying, whoa, that's right on top of us, but Kimbrell, that's a good thing.
Right. It's not what it used to be. If this were the hurricane, it would be a whole different ballgame, because associated with that center would be the highest wind speeds, the most destruction that would be associated with. I've been in a hurricane at the center, so I know what that's all about. That would be devastating. In this case, as a depression, it's not the same sort of thing. And it will be providing uplift throughout, but most of the heaviest, it's still a tropical system as a depression, and the rain amounts that are going to be the heaviest will be off to the right, off to the east of this storm moving forward. And so, and it's less lift, less energy associated with it than was associated with Harvey, whose name...
Yes, and the time frame, this is Tuesday 1 a.m., Wednesday 1 a.m. So, going to bed Monday night during the day on Tuesday,
right,
is when we could see some larger improvements. So today and tomorrow are still going to be really rough days where there's going to be times where we have very intense rainfall. Our rainfall rates right now, especially in the hardest hit areas, are down to a half inch to an inch per hour. That's going to help out the situation.
And even less in some places.
Yeah, and even less in some places. But we will have times over the next 24 to 36 hours where those rainfall rates are going to come up. The farther this shifts out to the east, and also, Canberra, an important thing that you just brought up, the intensity. As intensity continues to come down, we're talking about a drop in at least 5 miles per hour for the wind speeds, and the pressure would come up as well. And that would have Harvey producing less intense rainfall. So again, these are all little minute things, but at this point, that's little minute things could actually provide a little reprieve.
We often talk about the fact when we have these heavy rains that the drainage systems can't keep up if it's more than 2 inches an hour. So when you get below that, that gives you a chance to say, well, okay, that lets everything kind of keep up. Well, we're so far behind now with the rain that we've gotten. The National Weather Service, they put out from time to time the cumulative amounts for the last 24 hours, and they just printed that out, and it is an amazing number. We've talked about some of them throughout this morning, but over the last 24 hours, in Pearland, 20.8 inches. In all of Harris County, that's the most. 20.8 inches in Pearland. Friendswood, 19.4. Pasadena, 16.8. Those are some of the big amounts there. Galveston and Clear Creek, 19 inches. Pecan Grove and Fort Bend, 15.8. So you can see that we have these tremendous rain amounts throughout the area over the last 24 hours. And so that's going to take some time for our systems to be able to catch up with that. They're not going to go dry for quite some time. And so we're going to just have to make sure that the drainage, whatever it is going to continue. And hopefully the rainfall is not going to continue at the rates that we've been having. And as you showed here, there's a big difference between now and then.
This is a rainfall rate of half inch to an inch. Right along the Gulf Freeway, in the overnight hours, we had rainfall rates exceeding 5 to 6 inches per hour. So this is a huge drop and a huge benefit, but unfortunately, damage is already done and we already have significant flooding. The interesting thing is, Canberra, when you read off those rainfall totals, up to 20 inches, it's not off from what the predictions were for our area for Harvey. We were always saying, 20 to 35 inches, but 20 inches in 24 hours.
And we were talking about
different than 20 inches
5 days.
over 5 days. And that's why we always say that you just have to never turn your back on a tropical system, because it has a mind of its own and it's going to do what it's going to do. And it dropped 20 inches of rain in, it's a 24-hour total, but a lot of that honestly happened within a 12-hour window, which is why we have the catastrophic flooding. It's not so much, you have to pay attention to the rainfall totals, but the timeline is just as important.
Another example of how whenever we have a tropical system to keep track of, that we monitor it on a regular basis. You made that point very well, that the models change. This time last week, I was here doing a Sunday morning show talking about Harvey and at that time the models had it going into Mexico. And I said at that time that you can never trust that, because there's a lot going on in the Gulf and there's a chance for that to slide to the north a bit, and that could be a problem.
All right, guys, we're going to send it over to Kathy Hernandez to check in on her and see where she is now and what she's looking at. Oh, my word. Kathy.
Well, good morning. This is what we're seeing here in East Houston. You can see people are walking out of this neighborhood. The water now is waist deep. Some of them are coming out in rafts. We were here when we arrived. There was a boat bringing out an elderly woman. She was coming out. It's just, this neighborhood is just full of water right now. We're here on Maxey and Fleming Drive, where this has been a really hot spot for flooding in recent months, in recent years. Damikia is here now, and she actually came out of her apartment. She's pregnant. Tell us what you experienced.
I was asleep and my phone kept saying ambulance, but I was like, okay, I'm not going to worry about it. When around 4:30 in the morning, someone was beating on my door and beating on my window. And when I woke up, my air mattress started sliding. Like I just moved in my apartment 2 days ago. So when I opened the door, more water rushed in. And all of my stuff flew out, and like it just kept coming in. So I shut the door back, and I was like, I gotta get out. I can't just stay in here. And I started picking up what I could and throwing it to the top of the closet. And I grabbed my wallet and my backpack, and I left. I don't know what to do. I don't have much family out here that I can call, but it hurt. It hurt. It really do. It's my first apartment. I'm only 18, so, and I have a 2-year-old, and I'm pregnant, so.
Where's your 2-year-old now?
She's with her dad on the southeast side of Houston, but I haven't gotten in contact with them, and she was supposed to move in with me next week. And
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but you're out, you're alive, and your daughter's okay.
air mattresses, people were carrying babies on their shoulders. All I could grab was my wallet and my phone. That's all I knew to grab. I didn't know to grab nothing else. I seen someone with a raft, and they said, and they were like, "Are you pregnant?" And I was like, "Yes." And they put me in a raft, and they dragged me down. And I just was walking. I don't have no shoes on. My shoes that I did have, they're like soaked. My clothes floated out the apartment. It's just everything. It's like I just lost everything. And I keep working so hard to get it, and I keep losing it, but it's a natural disaster. So I can't fault nobody for this but myself. It's natural, you know. But I don't know what's next.
Tamika, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but we're all here for you. We're all here for you. And I do want to note as well that the Coast Guard actually is just flying around in this area, if you can see. These volunteers actually have been helping get people out of this neighborhood. They actually tell us that a woman is in labor. Her water broke and she's in labor, and she is stuck in her home back in this neighborhood. You can see the Coast Guard is just searching around now, and this is the man that was helping. Can you tell us a little bit about what the conditions are like back there?
All I can say is a lot of cars are flooded, a lot of apartments are flooded, and everybody's asking us questions, me and my partner right here, like, how long is it for help to come? Or we could just tell them to remain calm. We're trying to help y'all one by one. If the police can't help y'all, we're here to help y'all. And like I said, my partner helped, we call it, some people get out. I've been helping people to come over here with an air mattress and everything. So like I said, all we can do is just have everybody stay safe and stay out the water for the most part, because we have seen snakes in the water and swamp rats last night.
And you live back here as well. How does your own house look?
My house is almost underwater. Like I said, I have a mother who's handicapped in that apartment, and she's still in there. Like I said, right now I got nieces and nephews who's still in there. All my vehicles already in water. But like I said, I'm not really worrying about everything. Everything can get repaired. It's just my family I'm trying to get out the most.
And you're trying to get other neighbors out too.
Yeah.
What makes you do that?
Well, it's just why I was raised up. Everybody come before me. Like I said, I've been living in this neighborhood almost for 21 years. Go get her. I've been living in this neighborhood for almost 21 years, and I love this neighborhood so much. Like I said, this is my home, and I would do anything to help out my neighborhood. Like I said, that's why I built this own crew called Snake Eyes, and he's one of my members that help us do stuff like this for the community.
And in that area where the Coast Guard, we believe, just went in, is that where that woman is that is in labor now?
No, she's in the Timber Ridge apartment at the very front, in apartment 2109. And we call it, they were flagging us down. We're about to come back out to see if we can help any more people out. But as they flagged us down, we ran in, and that's when they said the lady was already in labor. And she's ready. My partner checked her and everything. She's 2 centimeters about to be due. Yeah.
So who is going to get her? Are paramedics headed in?
Well, Houston, we're just talking to the Houston police. The police said what address what apartment number she's in, so they can park the truck down the road and they can ride the boat in there so they can get her out first since she's about to be due.
Thank you so much. You can hear that now. It's neighbors helping neighbors, everybody just trying to make sure their family and friends and other community members here make it out safely. As we could see just a few seconds ago, the Coast Guard appeared like it was coming down in this neighborhood. We'll work on getting information about that. But if you take a look back over here, you can still see that people are going back into that neighborhood, possibly gathering more belongings. Hopefully, they're going to get people and bring them out to safety, because at this point you can hear belongings, they're just stuff. It's more important that we get the people out here and we get them out safely. So here it's a very dangerous situation, as you heard as well. He said there was snakes in the water, and it just a very heartbreaking situation to talk to these families here, to talk to this woman here who is in tears now, and it can it really breaks your heart, because everyone here, everyone works so hard for what they have, and to see it underwater like that is very, very difficult. But we're of course going to continue to follow this situation out here. We do know there's actually a shelter. Red Cross opened a shelter here in this area. Hopefully families can get shelter there in the meantime, while all this water is just in their neighborhood. Guys, back to you.
Hey, Kathy, be sure if you see that young lady on the way out, make sure you tell her it's not her fault, that she couldn't have predicted this and she couldn't have stopped it, and nobody could, that we're all just trying to do the best. Just make sure you talk to her on the way out, because I hate to have someone leaving with that feeling that somehow that's their fault.
No, unfortunately these things happen, but it's so hard when you hear from these families that are, just feeling like they're getting on their feet and they've got their own apartment and they've got their own things, and then it's a tremendous setback. It is a tremendous setback, and hopefully she gets connected with the right resources between FEMA and eventually an American Red Cross, and really
resources will be there. They are
get her back up on her feet. Yeah, definitely.
So I got a message here from friends over at Memorial Hermann. They've got what they call a Code Gray that's been issued for the entire Memorial Hermann health system while the storm goes. They want to make sure they have ample staffing to continue serving their patients. So they're going to stay tuned for additional updates. But Code Gray, so any of you employees of the Memorial Hermann Health System, now you guys know what that means.
Definitely. And as we've been hearing throughout the morning, if you did have a doctor's appointment for today or Monday, even some urgent care clinics are closed. That's definitely something you want to call ahead before you just go to your regular appointment. Another thing to keep an eye on throughout today and tomorrow is we're starting to hear more and more school districts that are going ahead and extending their closures through Tuesday. We remember Friday and Thursday, a lot of them were coming out and saying they're going to go ahead and shut things down till Monday.
Right.
Now we're hearing more new ones are Fort Bend, Cy-Fair, we told you about Galena, A-Leaf. They're going to go ahead and stay closed for Monday and Tuesday. So if you are in a situation where you're wondering whether or not your kids are going to have to be back at school on Tuesday, it's looking like a lot of these districts are going ahead and postponing because of the uncertainty that we're in, and when we're talking about rain going through Wednesday.
Yeah, it's a major rain event. If you need the list, you want to make yourself feel better and double check, you go to click2houston.com, because I'm looking at the homepage. There are a lot of red banners there, and that's where all the important information is. I also mentioned something too, because now that the sun is up, it's been up for a couple hours, folks are out trying to move around. In some cases, you take yourself down to Friendswood, for example. If you're in the neighborhood, you can safely get over, maybe bring gas to those folks who needed help at Link Road down there. Okay, that's one thing, but not to just go out and venture around. These high water locations, I've been watching them since 4 o'clock this morning, and that number just goes up every hour by 10 or 15 more. We might have had 150, and now we're up to, over 200 at this hour.
Yeah, and still the number of rescues that are being requested continues to go up. And that's what's really heartbreaking, because we're getting a lot of folks, personal friends, who are saying there's water coming in my house. What can I do? Who can I call? And unfortunately, from speaking with the police chief and the sheriff, they're in a situation where they're only able to respond to the most dire of emergencies. A health emergency, the woman who's pregnant in labor, elderly, and even the disabled. In some cases, they're having to triage and unfortunately prioritize who they're able to rescue, and given on top of that, access.
Right.
A lot of these places they just cannot get to. It's, as you saw, helicopter and boat.
Yeah.
That's it. I think Britta has an update for us. Let's go ahead and see if we can bring her in. What do you have new?
This actually is a message that my friend that lives in Friendswood, he forwarded it to me. He works for NASA, and this was a message that was sent out by Friendswood. It's a text message, and it says, in a 24-hour period ending at 2:30 a.m. on Sunday, Friendswood has received 13.39 inches of rain at the Public Safety Building on Whitaker Drive. Other rain gauges in the city have recorded more than 17 inches during that period. In the 6-hour period ending at 2:50 a.m. on Sunday, 10.87 inches of rain was recorded. More rain is forecasted. Mary's Creek appears to be at record levels. Multiple homeowners have reported flooding in their first floor. The Kenneth Camp Fire Station 1 on Whitaker Drive is being used as a medical triage center as hospitals are not accessible. The City Activities Building, 416 Morningside Drive, is open as a temporary shelter. Approximately 51 people are there. More are expected. 4 high water vehicles are in service. More have been requested from Galveston and Harris counties. Rescue boats have been requested from Harris and Galveston counties. And that's where the text message ends. So this is going out to Friendswood residents.
They can all see this. Boy, oh boy. I mean, that's where we saw a lot of water rescues. You look at, it's Clear Creek down there, right? That's been, we were watching Clear Creek over 10 feet above its bank in a lot of places when I was watching you go through that list of the river levels, the water.
Friendswood area, clearly it's 500 flood year records.
Yes.
Right now. Of course, the whole thing is, as we continue to run into this whole scenario, so we continue to have, and one of the things you notice, there's less continuous red on the map. That's a good thing, because the red is up here. We have another tornado warning.
Oh, that just popped up.
Just popped up as I was looking at it. We all looked at it at the same time. It's well off to our east over in Jefferson County in the Beaumont area.
And that shows a little bit of continued movement by what's left of Harvey, right? I mean, the fact that these boxes keep moving east. Not that we want to send tornadoes to people. I'm just saying this is for the Houston area. This is indication the storm's moving.
Yeah, and this is outside of our area technically. So, but it's still a box, and it's associated with the very heavy bands that are being drawn in from the pressure, the low pressure center of Harvey, which is well off to the west here. As you can see the rotation very clearly, see that broad area of rotation that's moving very slowly. And of course the forecast track is for it to slide in this direction and then slide back up. And it'll be a much less potent storm at that point in time, because it will be a storm. So we're going to continue to watch that. Flood warning for Caney Creek near Splendora now. There's flood warnings everywhere. Just know that that's going to be the case there for them as well. Flood warning for New Caney Creek. And that's associated with, that's the northeastern part of the viewing area, up to the northeast, up to the east of Lake Houston. Its flood stage is 18 feet. It's already at 14 and is going up. Forecast to go to 22. So it will be flooding, and don't know if that's historic or anything like that, but it is going to be in the category of being very, very strong storm going forward here. We continue to watch, and what we're hoping, putting our hope in, is that some of this would not come together. But you can see what's happening here now. We were hoping this wouldn't happen. This is starting to build in. We had this nice clearing here a little bit. The green is a lighter rain moving up toward Galveston, but now you see it building in there. Now we want to see that staying apart, but later on throughout the day, unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be staying together, and all of this is going to continue to rotate around. General train of thought and the consensus is that over the next 24 to 48 hours, we will continue to see not maybe this kind of intensity, but heavy rain off and on with these rain bands associated with Harvey. Yes, you have a question?
I'm just fascinated by this. It's moving so slow. It is so big, and everybody's waiting for a break and really needs one.
You remind me of something when you waved at me. I thought that was, but I remember when you were talking about to that person, you said, "I've never been through anything like that."
Yeah.
Hurricane Andrew hit Miami when I was in Miami, and I never will forget number one, the experience of Hurricane Andrew, but I never will forget going to my home after Andrew and seeing the destruction in my home, and then living for the next 6 months in a trailer on my front yard while my house was being prepared. And what I really think about a lot is my daughters, who were 5 and 7 at the time, who are now 30 and 32. And they sent me a message on Facebook just the other day, because the Andrew anniversary was 2 days ago.
Right.
And they remember it then. And I remember the effort of my youngest daughter trying to be brave.
Yeah.
And I look back at video, and even I think about it now, and it chokes me up, because she was trying to be so brave, but you could see how scared she was. So that's a reminder that as we are, as stressed as we may be, as we're dealing with this kind of scenario, our little ones are really not sure what's going to happen. So it's up to us to try to make sure we put on the best face we possibly can to let them know we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that they're going to be okay. We may not know if we're going to be okay, but we need to let them know that they're going to be okay, that mommy and daddy are going to do everything we can to make sure we're going to get out of this and we're going to be just fine, because they are going to be impacted, believe me on that. So we're going to be enough. I'm off the box.
That's all right. It has to be said. It has to be said.
It's a difficult time, and everybody, you can hear from everybody's voice when we talk with, Sophia and Kathy talking to the people out there. You can feel the emotion that they're feeling because they don't know what's going to happen next. When the mayor comes forward to speak, we'll start to get a little bit of a better understanding about what centers are open, which agencies are actually open. Because Rachel, you were talking about one of the areas. You said the Chinese Community Center. You heard that maybe that was not open because of flooding in that area. So we'll get a definitive answer about where you can go and who you can call to make sure. And I'm just sure that we're going to have some sort of phone bank and other people in, so that you will be the center of helping you find out what you need to find out as well going forward.
And giving folks an opportunity to help each other too. We always try to make that easy when we can.
Yeah, as much as we can. Okay.
Absolutely. I know. It really has been an interesting storm, an unusual storm, an unprecedented storm. I feel like the adjectives are just, they're so big, but it's true with what we're seeing hour by hour that's gone by. And I know, at least in several of the live shots we've seen with our reporters, the rain has tapered off a little bit, and you just have to be thankful for those small moments.
Well, I think what Gabrielle said is right. You're starting to see a little bit less red on the map. And the colors are important in this sense because of what it indicates. And it indicates that we're getting less and less of it. It doesn't mean it's going to stop, because it's not.
Right.
As slow as this thing's moving, as wide as it's moving, it will continue to dump rain. But yes, the speed at which that rain falls, the amount that falls, hourly. They measure it by the quarter of an hour. We won't be seeing 1.5 inches, 2 inches per quarter hour. That'll drop down 1/2 inch, 3/4. Little by little.
And we're still waiting on a news conference from Mayor Sylvester Turner. I think he moved up the time. And he's going to keep it at 10 a.m.?
10 o'clock that's what the little birdie told me.
Okay. Well, then we're just going to stick here and try to bring you as many updates and live shots as we can. I know one other thing that we've been hearing about quite a bit is the flooding in Rice Village. Over there by Rice University. And some of those pictures have been coming in where you see that area, and a lot of folks saying that Kirby has kind of been awash in that area.
You get two things going on.
Here's a shot. This is if you know where this is the Urgent Care Center that's there on Rice Boulevard. It's almost like there's the Pier 1. Unfortunately, I'm in that area a lot, so you can imagine. This is the area near Benji's, I think, is where we're looking back on now. But this is all near Rice University, and you can see a lot of water in that area.
So that's what I say. Look at two things here, because we've got. Here's some video. 288 near but 288 it's done. 288's done for a while.
Yeah. So this is Kathy Hernandez.
But in some cases, like this is a good example. Okay, so 288 runs right over one of the bayous, and that thing gets over its banks, and 288 is toast. You can't even go down on the freeway. Forget about it. Rice Village, it's more akin to like a drainage kind of a situation, because there's no creek right there. So it's like, but the town, the area, that neighborhood, just can't hold that water at the amount. So this is why we want to see this lessening and lessening. So we see less and less scenes like this.
Go ahead.
13 inches in the Rice area near the medical center. So the pictures we had there earlier.
Look at this.
Yeah.
This is Academy and Bellaire in Southwest Houston. You see a car basically pushing out another car.
Yeah. Hey, give them a little extra momentum to get through that.
Help comes in all different forms.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like it's working.
Not recommended, but
yeah,
sometimes
probably
the
not.
only way through, you know.
Probably not.
Pickup truck's going to have a much better shot than you will in your vehicle that may or may not have an ability to get through there.
By the way, we're also still looking for a monster truck that can get to our station in Southwest Houston. We've been trying to get that up and going. If someone's willing to volunteer,
and, pick some folks up after this.
I know. Some good news for Hobby Airport folks, you know, because we've been talking about how they've been shut down for a good part of the day, and the roads are all flooded trying to get in and out of Hobby Airport there. Well, they are telling us that the Eco Park lot, if you parked there, your cars are safe. They said that right now that was not flooded. They're continuing to monitor because, you know, some folks are still watching our newscast from wherever they may have traveled to. So don't worry about your car if you parked in that Eco lot because they say it's okay so far.
And you bring up a good point about that because we were speaking of the Galveston cruise ships that are still out to sea, and those folks left their cars, in some cases, down by the port. And we checked it with them yesterday morning, and everything was fine. And Britt and I were talking about this a little earlier today. I wanted to follow up. One of our viewers wrote on Facebook and said, "Hey, what's going on down there?" And Britta said, "Well, we've kind of moved our reporters out of that area because the rain wasn't an issue." She said most of that was from the initial storm surge and the rain. And if it was okay yesterday morning, that down at the cruise terminal, your car should be fine. We haven't seen a picture of it today, but I would bet on that.
Yeah, Galveston lucked out on this one for the most part. I mean, considering everything. It's really since it's been moving inland.
And what we've seen from some of these other like waterways overflowing.
No, absolutely.
9:15, so we've got about 45 minutes until the mayor is set to speak. It'll be interesting to hear some of that updated information from His Honor about where we are with rescues and where our resources are. There's still a lot of people that need help to the point where there's basically a waiting list in some cases for folks to get rescued. So.
All right, let's do one more check back in with Britta and Cambrell and see if they have anything working.
Yeah, and
as far as an update.
Cambrell's working on a little information for one of our viewers. Becky is asking about Buffalo Bayou close to Cinco Ranch. So Cambrell's working on that information for you. Again, all of our waterways are having a rough time at this point. But towards Cinco Ranch and the farther you go out to the west, the lower the rainfall totals actually are. So that's something in your direction. Did you?
About 8 inches in terms of rainfall?
No, in terms of how it's doing.
Yeah.
So
the height in that area is not doing well. It's
near
the top of bank. 101.5. Top of bank is 102. So it's about a half a foot from top of bank, and that's at Peak Road in Buffalo Bayou.
So Becky out of Cinco Ranch, you got about a little bit to give, but you're right up there.
Yeah.
Rainfall totals in that area by Katy and Cinco Ranch are coming up to 6 to 7 inches of rain, but isolated spots are 7 to 8.
And 10 and 24. In 24 hours, 10 inches.
Yes. And if we go on in on what we're seeing around that area, we're seeing a steady rainfall, but notice that it's more of a yellow coloration. So rainfall rates in Katy right now are actually under 1 inch per hour. So that means Buffalo Bayou at Peak Road by Cinco Ranch will most likely hold for right now. If we get a heavy band in, I would be concerned about it. But Becky, it's looking okay at this point. Just what I'm seeing off of rainfall rates, what Cambrell is checking on in terms of Buffalo Bayou at Peak Road. I think Cinco Ranch, you guys are okay, but Buffalo Bayou is right there at the brim. So if we see another heavy rain band set in, we'll have to reassess. But right now, I think you're okay, Becky.
And it's interesting how Buffalo Bayou works at that point, because Buffalo Bayou runs into Barker Reservoir, and Barker then releases into Buffalo Bayou that continues on the rest of the way, joins in with what comes from Addicks Reservoir, all of that coming from that west side. And so the good news is that all of those dams and reservoirs are well within their banks at this point.
So we'll continue to keep tabs on this. Let's go back to Rachel and Owen. I think we're going to do a little check-in with Sophia.
You guess right, Britta.
We've been seeing incredible pictures from our Sophia Ojeda in Friendswood throughout the morning. Let's check back in with her and see what the latest is there.
All right, guys. So we are here on Friendswood Link Road, guys, and there's a water rescue that's happening right now. This man that you see here with his kayak, he came here. He's a volunteer. He came here. He asked me, "Do you guys need help?" And we said, yes. He said he's got a kayak. He said, you know, I can go in and see if they need help. I said, yeah, maybe just to check on folks. He's been coming in and out of this neighborhood. This is probably the 6th trip that he's made here. He's probably brought maybe six people, 5 people. He's been coming back and forth. And just the outpouring of support. I want Gil to turn the camera around to show this area that's covered here. People have brought gallons and gallons of gasoline. They brought food. They've brought water. They said that they heard that Friendswood Police needed the fuel, and they came in droves. And I want you to see this family here. They just got off of one of those boats. They're in our live truck right now. We're waiting for the car the truck to bring them to the elementary school. So can you tell me what you guys experienced? Because she is 1, right? And you're 3. Okay.
Thankfully, my husband is actually a firefighter. And so we prepared as soon as we saw the water coming in and how quick it was coming in. We put plywood in the attic. We put a pack and play up there for the babies to stay in to keep them safe. And we just packed everything that we could possibly get up there, food, drink. We didn't know how long we would be up there. We prayed a lot, and we just praised God, and we were rescued, so we're very thankful.
Tell me about the rescue when you saw the boats coming. Tell me about that. This happened just a little bit ago.
We'd heard them for a long time. We could hear them. My husband actually cut a hole through the roof just so that we would have that access, and we could hear them. The girls and I were inside, and he was out helping other people cut holes. He went to their house. This is our neighbor.
He went and cut a hole in our roof.
Yeah.
Just to make sure.
Yeah.
If you had to get up on the roof.
Because I just had recently had a knee replacement on the 31st of July, and he wanted to make sure that we were okay. He is one magnificent hero.
When that water was rising, because it's been all night, right? That water, it's gotten high, and it's still rising.
Yeah. It got high really fast, and then it kind of paused for a little while. When we were about 8 inches or so in the house, it paused for a while. The slow kind of died down a little bit, but it still continually kind of rose up until I think it's probably about 3 foot now. We still had a ways to go before it was in the attic with us, but just knowing more rain was coming and how fast it rose, we didn't know really how long we would have had.
Were you guys calling for help? Were you calling anybody, the emergency responders? How long did it take?
We called 911 the minute that we saw water coming in the house because we saw how fast it was rising. It actually was rising when it was not raining. And so we called 911 right away. They said, we'll put you on the list. Call us again if you need to. We called again. Okay, you're on the list. We had every one of our family members were calling. My mother knows the mayor of Friendswood. She was calling him. I mean, everybody was just trying to do anything they could to get us the help that we needed.
When they told you were on the list, what went through your mind?
I said, does anyone have any idea how long that looks like? And she said, we really don't know. We don't really have the resources. We just rescued somebody that had 12 foot of water in their house. And so it was a bit discouraging just because, we didn't know. We knew there were probably a lot of people trapped. People didn't really evacuate. So, yeah, it was nerve-wracking.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. Hopefully these trucks can take you over to the school here soon, but you just sit here as long as you need to, okay? All right, let's turn this camera back around. We got another boat. We got another boat coming down. You said, Gil, another boat coming back out. The boat definitely went back in. Here's another thing, guys. Let me just show you. He's got the camera. All right, he's got the camera out at the flashing lights there. This water here is continuing to rise. When we first got here, right where I'm walking, there was no water. All the way up until the beginning of that fence down there, it was not this high. Now the water is past my ankles. This water continues to rise, and you heard that young lady telling us that even when it's not raining, this water is going up and up and up. One man that we saw come out here, He came out here with a surfboard. He came out here with a surfboard. He came walking down. He said he lived around the corner. He went in there with a surfboard to check on his neighbors, to check on everybody. Another situation here, during these rescues, they rescued a pregnant woman. She went into labor, and they were asking if any emergency vehicles were going to be able to get here. And at this point, they didn't know, so they took her. They took her away. I don't know if she was going to be able to make it out of this area because the water is rising around us as well. But again, you've seen just the show of solidarity, folks coming out here and bringing food and bringing water to first responders and coming out to check on their neighbors in floaties and surfboards, just to make sure that they are okay. Gail, turn this camera around over there, that way. Somebody brought another boat there. It looks as though they're getting ready or trying to talk to another volunteer to see what people need here and how they're going to be able to get that boat into the water. But another thing that this woman was telling us, she came down here, she rode her bike down. She is saying that all of these people that are being rescued are going down to Wedgwood Elementary School. That school is not prepared for this. She's telling us that school is not prepared for this. I think earlier emergency officials told us that they had to break in to get that door open so people can go there for safety, but they're telling us that they're not prepared for this. There's no food, there's no water. If anybody can safely bring that to the school, we're talking hundreds of people here, hundreds of people that are in need of help, that are still being rescued, that are still stuck back there in chest-high water that continues to rise, guys. So they're asking for help, and it doesn't seem as though it's going fast enough.
Well, it's just so many people, the numbers of people who need help. And these rescuers, bless their hearts, have been working nonstop. I'm glad you put out the call for some food and water for those rescuers, because I tell you what, they're not taking breaks.
No, and I'm hearing from folks online that are saying, hey, what can we do? We've got blankets, we've got towels, we've got food. What can we do to help? Well, if you're in a neighborhood like this where they need help and you can safely get there, then of course all that help is welcome. Otherwise, we don't want you to get yourself stranded or in trouble going out trying to help someone. In the end, we're all going to get together throughout this. You're going to hear from organizations, charities that help folks. You're going to hear from churches. You're going to hear from a lot of people who are going to set up shop. All these communities, I'm telling you, all these neighborhoods, for you new folks who haven't been through this before, these neighborhoods are going to come together. You're going to see these areas popping up where they're going to be having calls out for donations, whether they be shelters, the Red Cross, but just stay with us and keep that going.
And I have a new one for you. So this was put out by Pasadena ISD. They're saying that Dobie High School is being set up as a Red Cross rescue location for families who need refuge. So assistance will be available, they're telling us, on the gym side turnaround. So please share that information if you know anybody in the Pasadena area who needs help. Dobie High School being set up as a Red Cross refuge for them.
Good. Our Adam Wexler's here with us. In a situation like this, news, sports.
It's all hands on deck.
Exactly.
Yes, for sure. And you've got some new information to share with us.
Yeah, we've had a chance to get in touch with some of the Office of Emergency Management in our surrounding counties. Obviously, this is a massive event, and it expands far outside of Harris County. I want to start with what we have from Liberty County. Was able to talk with Tom Branch out there about the situation that they're dealing with and what they're trying to do. And they do have reports, again, in the last few minutes, no power outages in the area. No deaths reported in the area yet. The first responders are out and working to help people that are in need at the present time.
You're talking about Liberty there.
We're talking about Liberty
I've seen
County.
some pictures from some of my friends up there where cars have been flooded, but people are okay and they're staying put.
And he was stressing what you guys and Sophia and everybody else has been stressing, Britta and Cambrell, throughout the evening and now on into the morning. Try to stay off the roads as best you can. If an opportunity to assist presents, obviously that's something that they would love to see, but the word he used to describe the situation was intense. He said from the north end to the south end, there's not a dry spot in the area. Everything west of the Trinity River is underwater, but again, they're working to assist. And they're obviously we'll be in touch with them again throughout the day. I want to go from Liberty County just to the east of us, now to the south of us, with Brazoria County, and what they're watching are the San Bernard and Brazos River because they're both still rising. And obviously that's a major concern. The possibility, probably imminently, is that a mandatory evacuation could be likely. They're telling us that the areas in Pearland and Alvin, those were the ones hit most heavily, and that's why they've established some shelters already. There's one set up in the Alvin area. That's 1407 Victory Lane. That's the Livingstone Church. There's also one set up in the Angleton area at 1900 North Dowling Street, and that was south of us in Brazoria County. It's going north of us in Montgomery County. That's where they have some of their creeks right at flood level. Spring Creek and Panther Creek right at flood level. They are expected to flow out of banks, which would follow what Peach Creek already has done, which is flow out of its banks. But the good news is, at present time, again, no flooded homes were reported. Homes in Magnolia is where it's hit most heavily in Montgomery County, and evacuations are underway. And as we've seen with Sophia in Friendswood, water rescues underway, and they do hope to have people over to that Nichols Sawmill and Butera area as a shelter. They're hoping to set up a place to keep those people as well. But the same thing we're seeing with all of our reporters, and what we're seeing in Friendswood is what, unfortunately, we're going to see in so many of these surrounding counties. As it's very unfortunate to hear what that young lady was saying. As the rain was stopping, the water was continuing to rise inside their home. And that's what I think a lot of people, I know my family is very concerned about that as well.
Thank you, Adam, for that. We do appreciate it. This is a live shot from our Kathy Hernandez.
What'd you say?
Kathy, you're live with us here on Channel 2, and we're seeing just a mass exodus through these flooded streets behind you. This is incredible.
Well, Owen, it's a little hard to hear right now, but this is just a very heartbreaking situation right here. We're in East Houston. This is Fleming Drive near Federal. Federal is just very close to I-10, but you can see that families are coming out of their neighborhood on rafts, on boats. We even saw a jet ski go back there just a few minutes ago, but it's just so devastating to see these families even walking through waist-deep water. You can see even on this raft, there's 2 small children on there, bringing them to safety. And everyone is just showing up, making sure that all the families come out okay. We have seen the Coast Guard helicopter flying around, making rescues in this area. The Coast Guard did confirm they were helping people out of their flooded homes here in this East Houston community. We also want to bring in a gentleman. He has been here. We were here actually when he walked out, right? Junior, you walked out of your apartment?
Yes, I did walk out of my apartment, and it was flooded real bad. I was scared. I'm on a walker. I got back problems. So I was just in the car accident. I got real bad back problems. I had to like help 2 little small kids on a walker. It's just real bad. And I need some help. I really need some help. I done lost everything. Everything. My car, my clothes, TV, furniture, everything. I done lost it. Hope somebody can help me. I just pray.
And we're all praying for you too, Junior. You walked out of here. You said, who woke you up? Did you just?
When I woke up, I had to use the bathroom. I was asleep. So I took my medication when I got my back problem. So I took my medication and went to sleep. When I woke up, I thought I was dreaming. I closed my eyes again, did it again, and I realized I wasn't dreaming. This was really real.
To see all this, people coming out of this community.
Sad. It's just very, very sad. Very sad. They ain't really got nothing. Not too much. So we really ain't got too much. They lost everything they got. Most of the folks lost everything they got. The little they did have, they lost it already.
Junior, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But everyone is here for you. Everyone is here for you. We do want to show you guys just one more time down this road. Families and families are just coming out of this neighborhood. This is Federal and Fleming in East Houston. Junior is saying, pray for us.
Thank you.
We certainly are, Junior. We're praying for you and everybody here in this community. Right here on this small raft, you can see 2 young children wearing life jackets. And just up above this community, you can also see the lifeguard helicopter is actually circling this neighborhood. Just a very devastating situation out here as families try to come out and save their lives.
Kathy,
I'm sorry, Owen, did you have something?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from some of those families when you get a chance. I mean, obviously not all of them are in the mood to speak. Of course, they're trying to save themselves, but we'd love to hear more about their circumstances. I'll tell you, Kathy, I mean, part of where you are, I mean, you were smack dab between Hunting Bayou and the end of Greens Bayou going into the Houston Ship Channel, and both of those are over their banks in many places. So this is, in many cases, not a surprise that they're being inundated, but sad nonetheless. Can you pull any of them aside to find out a little more about what the circumstances
to find out more what's happening?